London's LBC 97.3. 0870 90 90 973.
Nick Abbott.
His fat little fingers play over the keyboards. We're off. Can you hear me? Have you got the right mic on? You're looking worried already. We haven't even started yet.
Staff cleaner, please. Staff cleaner to the King's Road.
It is filthy down there. Good. It looks like they've taken all of the rubbish that they collected at Glastonbury last year and dumped it on the King's Road. Has there been any celebrations? That was at the wrong end of King's Road. I didn't go up to Sloane Square. Presumably football doesn't get to Sloane Square. They were beaten back by Trustafarians with their trousers belted around their knees. Seriously, you kids have got to stop doing that. You look ridiculous. First of all, it makes you look like your bottoms have been sawn off and your legs are about a foot long. It's just daft. Here we go. Why, in the first flush of your sexual youth, would you want to make it look like you have some sort of bodily problem? And, furthermore, are smooth down there like an action man. Weird. But worse than the blokes, much worse, are the women. Hey, Lucy, would you do me a favour and stand up, please? You look fantastic. I can't hear you.
Oh, thank you.
You are not guilty. You may sit down.
Thank you.
However, approximately 100% of the other women in this town are guilty. And when I say women, I don't mean actual grown-ups. I mean girls. Oh, you can't walk 5 yards without seeing some girl, all of which are overweight. I mean, I know we've got a problem with that, but if you are in any way overweight, if you can pinch more than an inch, be honest, don't dress like the girls are dressing in London right now. They're dressing with jeans that don't come up very high. They're called low-slung. What are they called? Low-slung jeans?
Low-slung hipsters.
Hipsters is the correct answer. And teamed with, and this is a match made in hell right here. Hipsters, low-slung jeans teamed with tops that are cropped short. Crop tops and low-slung jeans. Result? This explosion of white fat between the two. Coupled with, whenever they sit down or bend down, gigantic, not even the Grand Canyon is that big. Huge, this donut ring of no confidence. How can you go out like that? Don't you possess mirrors? Somebody should give them, like 2 mirrors so they can see what they look like from behind. People are passing out in their wake. It's appalling. It really. If you were a teenage girl and you were a little bit overweight, wouldn't you want to cover that up? I mean, wouldn't you, as a teenager, not even want to leave the flat? I'm sorry, we're talking about Chelsea, the house. I am stunned on an almost minute-by-minute basis because there's no end of them. This is just bursting out because the trousers are tight and the tops are tight, but your bodies aren't. Now, I'm not some kind of body fascist. I don't care. It's just that I won't thrust my flesh in your face if you don't thrust yours in mine. How's that? We'll make a deal. The King's Road, seriously, someone's got a heck of a job there, because at the wrong end of King's Road, you can't see the road for rubbish. It's just incredible. But they're all dispersed. Maybe they're all, like, passed out. Maybe the rubbish came through and took the people first and left the rubbish on the road. Anyway, this is LBC 97.3. I'm Nick Abbott for 5 days only, spread out on a weekly basis. Today and tomorrow, and then Saturdays in May. Shall we get ready and, how does it go? How does it go? Talk back, person on air, yeah?
Route, person, place.
Route, person, place. Hey, Stephen.
Hello, Nick.
How are you?
Hey, Nick, I was going through Chester City Centre the other week after you spoke about this. And, guess what I saw?
Lord Lucan.
No, some child walking along with their underpants showing, hanging down. What did you call it? Hip-hop?
Hip-hop hipsters, yeah.
Yeah, it looked absolutely but it looked a bit funny as well, I thought.
I saw a guy shopping in Sainsbury's a little while ago. He had his trousers, he had no shirt on, and his trousers were belted underneath his bottom. In other words, his entire underwear was on show. He was shopping in the food section.
Oh, grief. Anyway, that's not why I rang you.
I don't get that. I mean, how can you... I don't understand that. I mean, I know that kids dress in order to upset their elders, but we used to... in my day, it were grand. We used to dress in a provocatively sexual way in order to upset our elders. Kids these... I don't know, I guess the women thing is... but it's not provocatively sexual. Girls with gigantic bursts of flesh out of their middles. That's not sexual, that's just repellent.
I have to agree with you there. But I actually...
But you see, everybody wants to be Britney... All girls want to be Britney Spears. No, further than that, they want to be strippers, pole dancers. They want to be Jordan or whatever. Yeah, Jordan. They want to look like prostitutes, basically, is what it is, right?
But they haven't got the body...
Exactly, they haven't got the body for it. I mean, it can look fantastic. See Britney Spears in her first video, right?
But what I actually wanted to ring you about...
Oh, this wasn't it?
No, I thought that was just funny, that. I sent you an email about radio, Roger Scott. Do you remember?
Oh, that was you, yeah. At the other place, yeah.
Yeah, and I remember you speaking the other week, but this woman rang up and she wanted to be a radio presenter, and she had this really northern accent.
Yes.
And you tried to persuade her against it.
Yeah, I bet I didn't succeed at all.
And I thought to myself, is radio dying? You know, because I remember back to... You remember I spoke to you about 1966?
Oh, yeah, that was you. Mm-hmm. You've been on hold ever since.
Yeah, Roger Scott, Kenny Everett, Nicky Horn, all on Capital Radio.
Yeah, well, Nicky Horn's not dead.
No, I know he's not dead.
He's lumping him in with a lot of dead people. He's not dead yet.
I know, but you had really interesting days of radio, like the United Network Biscuit factory.
Yeah, close.
But I really wish I could find something about that, so some clips or something.
Oh, you want a biscuit network? Why?
Because
and here's one going out for the women in the jam roly-poly section.
Because it sounded really interesting, the birth of radio.
Oh, come off it, mate. You're in a period now which is more exciting for communications than any in which man has lived. How can you... It sounds like you're giving up on life.
But didn't you say that you thought to this lady, you said that in a few years you thought radio DJs were going to be...
Yeah, isn't that great? Isn't that great? I mean, we should be hanging out the bunting.
Well, at work, all they listen to a lot of the time is this new digital radio stations.
Yeah.
Where they don't have any DJs.
Right.
Play the music.
Yes.
But then we wouldn't discover people like you.
Listen, very shortly there won't be... Well, there'll be talk show hosts, but there won't be DJs. Well, let's not go over this ground again, but very shortly, in brief, there won't be any DJs. It'll just be music, because kids now... teenagers now are used to listening to music on their iPods, where there are no DJs and weather and news and all that stuff. Where every time you have a focus group, and radio stations do nothing but have focus groups, the number one question that they'll ask is, "What don't you like?" And the number one thing they always say is, all the bits in the middle of the music, the DJs and the adverts, and we don't like any of that stuff. So if you cut all that out, which of course millions of internet radio stations are doing now, and kids and your iPod cuts all that out, and you can download everything for free or pay for it, whichever. The result is the same. So they get used to listening to radio without all the interruption or music, really. And if the teenagers now are used to that, their children won't want anything but that. So I think, I mean, this is just me. Me saying it isn't going to make it happen. But it's just my personal opinion that the way things are going is music radio is on its way out.
But what's going to make a station distinctive?
It will be talk. The talk format is on the way in. That's the one format that's never really been mined in this country. You go to America, and every major market, by which I mean every big city, the top 3 or 4 stations, well, usually there'll be a Spanish station that's number 1, and then the 2 or 3 after that will be talk stations. In this country, all the big earners, as we've recently learnt in the press, all the big earners are DJs, people who play music, which to me is crazy.
Yeah.
In America, all the big earners are all, without exception, talk show hosts. And when I say big earners, I mean people earning 8-figure salaries. Work that out in your head. That's over 10 million quid.
Really?
For anybody who's just taken A-level maths.
Right, well, I mean, I hope that radio survives this technological revolution anyway. Me personally.
Yeah, it'll survive, but it'll come. Of course, it will survive. But it will be in a much more exciting form than it is now. I mean, what the choice that you have now in London is what, half a dozen stations. Let's be frank. I mean, there's a lot of other satellite stations, little tiny ones here and there that nobody actually listens to or wants. But if you actual choice, especially commercial, half a dozen at the most, right? Which is crazy, because in New York, the very same radio that you listen to British radio on, if you took it to New York, you get 90 stations.
Yeah.
Madness. Very soon, and they promised it for Christmas last, so it's going to come, they'll have internet radios, which will pick up radio stations without you having to turn your computer on. It'll just be like a tranny, not a transvestite, I have to make that clear. If you can pick up a radio station on your local tranny, then you really are doing well. But on your transistor radio, that's something else. It'll look like that, but you'll be able to pick up any radio station or internet music service in the whole wide world.
Well, that'd be great.
Exactly. It's not the death of radio, it's the beginning of something much, much better.
Just two really quick points.
Oh, and another thing.
Well, first of all, I don't know if it's just because I listen to you on the internet up here in Chester, but there's something wrong with the output of LBC tonight. It's like someone has put their finger on you as a record and slowed you right down. You can't actually hear you properly. Because I can hear it in the extension now, and it sounds awful. It's like a slow record, basically. So that's for your technical department.
Yeah, okay, they're right on it.
But lastly, the managing director said that you're here to stay until the 4th seat, until he says otherwise. Does that mean you're actually here after May as well?
The managing director said
on
that?
the podcast the other night, he said, because I've sent an email, and somebody else did, saying we enjoyed your show, and we wanted to hear more of you, and he said Nick Abbott's on Saturday nights until we say otherwise.
Right. Well, that's news to me. As far as I know, they're saying otherwise at the end of May. Well, but that's all I know. But if he's the managing director, then he would know more than me.
Well, we'll do what they did to Roger Scott in New York, which basically was send loads of letters in saying they wanted him, we'll say we want you, and then you'll be here forever, hopefully.
Right.
I hope.
Okay, well, listen, thanks a lot, mate.
Thanks a lot.
Ta-ta.
Bye.
This is Real Radio, so already I've found out an enormous amount of stuff about my life that I didn't previously know. We're way ahead of where we were only 16 minutes ago.
London's LBC 97.3.
0870 90 90 973.
Nick Abbott.
Yeah, I was listening to Wendy Lloyd last week. She was doing the food show. Was it last week she talked to that gigantically boobed woman who does all the houses on telly? Sarah Beanie. Has she had a removal? A reduction?
No, she had a baby.
Well, that would make them bigger, wouldn't it? No, that's not possible. No, I'm sure she's had them reduced. Because she used to enter your television screen from stage left minutes before you actually see her face. And she used to intimidate the women on that programme. I think every woman on that programme, you could just see it in their eyes. They hated her. Because she looks great on screen. I mean, she looks, marvellous and it's kind of mumsy, really. I wonder what she's like off-screen, because she seems to rub them up all the wrong way. I wonder if she does that deliberately, just for great television. Because, if everything's going on fine. It was like Kevin MacLeod on the Grand Designs programme, which is inordinately successful. If everything's going fine, he's got no show. And so he has to sort of think up something. Oh, well, you might die of a heart attack. The first one that came back, everything went brilliantly. They had more money than the Catholic Church, and it was going so very well. So he was like fumbling around. Well, you might die. He just kept repeating it over and over again. Well, don't forget, you have problems with your heart. Same with Sarah Beanie. If it's all going great, she's got no programme. So I think she may be... this is my theory. This is not what perhaps she does. This is my theory from watching her programme. I think she probably, perhaps, rubs them up the wrong way off camera, so that when the camera's rolling, they're like seething. Plus, she has the most gigantic boobs ever. And, you back me up on this, Lucy. Women don't like other women with gigantic boobs, am I right?
Oh, I don't mind.
Huh?
Well, vaguely jealous, but, nothing...
Come on, what do women think of Pamela Anderson, Jordan, and all of those women?
Oh, but that's not attractive looking, is it? In my eyes. Because they just look like great big balloons.
See?
That's not envy, though.
This microphone baffle, by the way, there's a round circle. You've probably seen this when you see, artists in the studio. They've got a microphone, and this sort of, it looks like like an anti-pregnancy device for a giant animal. It's a circle of fabric. Pulled across it,
yeah.
That stops you popping on the microphone, right? And it sits right in front of every presenter's mouth who sits here. This one's got food chunks on it. Absolutely. Who sat here last? Food chunks. Actual bits of proper food. I'll flick them off. There you go. You look horrified.
Disgusting.
All right, let's go with Louise. Hey, Louise.
Hi, Nick. How are you?
I'm all right, thanks.
Good. I'm a Northern Lass, by the way, at Let's Do Radio Presenter, but I'm sure you don't want to go into that again.
You were the person that called me wanted to be a radio presenter?
Yeah.
Right. Did I dissuade you?
No. But I do agree with what you've been saying, definitely.
Okay.
But I'm sure you don't want to go into that again.
No.
Right, you've been talking about the baggy jean things. They do look absolutely ridiculous, and unfortunately they're, in fashion at the moment.
Well, only for blokes. Only blokes wear baggy jeans. Women wear spray-on jeans that are so tight that they're tighter than their actual person, and so that the flesh just above the jean bursts out.
Yes.
So it looks like a great white donut of flesh above the jean and beneath the crop top. That is hideous, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's even worse, when fat people do it, when skinny people do it. Look.
There are no skinny people in this country anymore. Everybody's fat. We would like to think of Americans as a nation of gigantically fat people. let's hold up a mirror to this country. Have we met ourselves?
No, I don't think we have. And women with big boobs don't bother me. So, I don't hate women with big boobs.
And so what do you think about Pamela Anderson and Jordan and all that?
Pamela Anderson and Jordan are pretty, but...
You think they're
Jordan
pretty?
Jordan goes a bit over the top.
I think Jordan is a weird-looking woman. Whenever,
Really?
Yeah, whenever I've seen pictures of her, she's kind of like an experiment gone wrong.
Well, I saw one of the shopping centres had turned on the Christmas lights. And
Now, when you say turned on the Christmas lights...
She looked quite pretty, so...
Huh. Well, you have different standards in Barnsley.
Hey!
Hey!
You love it, really. Yeah.
So, Barnsley, that's kind of like, it's very near Leeds, and girls go...
Sheffield and Leeds.
Yeah, girls go out of a night in Leeds when there's snow on the ground in basically bras and panties, don't they, as far as I could see. That's what they go out in. No coat, no jumper, none of that. Well, that's all soft southern stuff.
Yeah. But I love the Southerners. I love LBC. I like listening to you, so,
How's the sound tonight?
It sounds good, actually. I'm listening to you on Sky. It sounds all right.
On Sky? Well, there you are. You see, coming through in crystal clear,
Sky quote.
stereo? There's not much point in us being in stereo, really, is there? For the ads, perhaps. Okay, well, listen, thanks a lot, Louise. And the best of luck with your career. Don't do it. Don't get into radio. Trust me.
Right. Nice talking to you.
Ta-ta.
Bye.
This is LBC. I'm Nick Abbott. I won't bother with the phone number because I'm sure that you know that already. Don't email me, please, because it's a talk show. So, yeah, I drove down the King's Road, and it looks like it's such a mess. You actually need a snowplow just to get down it, which is a foretaste of what is to come. What is it, 6 weeks away now? And I saw my first, this would be like a letter to the Times. Dear sir, I saw my first England flag attached to a car the other day with 6 weeks to go. Is this a record? It looked a bit out of place because it was the only one on the street with it. But shortly they all will have it because the The sellers are gearing up. The flag of St. George is to become a ubiquitous image as the World Cup approaches, said this article in the, I think it's a Telegraph, from the typeface. Retailers hope to sell more than, guess how many English flags? That's right, 43 million. That's almost one each. And the symbol of the... And just after the quarter-finals, they'll all be, like they are on the King's Road, in the gutter, stained with tears. The symbol of the England team will not just be seen on flags. The cross of St. George will be on mugs, slippers... Slippers? Bibs, pyjamas, swimsuits, cheerleading outfits. What? Paper plates, cocktail sticks... How can you get a flag of St. George on a cocktail stick? Well, if a camel can go through the eye of a needle. Suitcases. Hey, I'd like a suitcase with the, Arrive in Malaga. Spanish will love you. And even garden gnomes will have them. The total amount spent on World Cup merchandise is predicted to be more than... Hazard a guess?
20?
20 what?
Pounds? I hope it's 2 pence.
1.2 billion. 20 pounds? They're not giving this stuff away. The marketing director of Woolworths, Stephen Robertson, said, "We are planning for the biggest sporting event ever in terms of retail sales." I bet they are. I bet you go into Woolworths, there won't be anything but things with the Union flags on them. No, not Union flags. The Cross of St. George. Local Boys, which is an importer in Woodford Green in Essex, has created England car packs. They saw a gap in the market and they went for it. This is what you're going to see on cars virtually everywhere shortly. They'll have bumper stickers, a tax disc holder, a football-shaped bobble for the aerial, a windscreen banner, satin ribbons, a themed air freshener, and fuzzy red and white dice. That'll be brightening up a roller near you in Chelsea soon. It was a Charles, somebody or other, from a company called MrFlag.com, said this was all a drop in the ocean compared with what we'll see in 2012 for the Olympics. Do you ever wonder where they get the flags from that they burn on the news in places abroad? They're forever burning flags. Where the hell do they get them from? I mean, where in the middle of a sandy region would you get an American flag, for instance? Oh, we'll just go to American Flags Arise. They're open 24 hours. The demand is huge. They sell them in packs with lighters. Another one just released a video the other day, and it's always the same. Hang on a sec. Has anybody noticed that whenever one of these people release a video, you know the kind of people that I'm talking about, the people that, from the axis of evil, people that George Bush and Tony Blair are really upset about, every single time you see them, they've always got their finger raised like that. What's that about? Every picture, there's a picture right there. Take a look at that. If only this was television. They've always got their finger raised. Like they can't speak without raising their finger. What is that? Don't say it in my headphones, say it on the air. And perhaps it's like to smell my finger. And for a man that's been living in a cave, I'd rather not. And he's not looking at me, so he didn't see the cue. Cue.
Nick Abbott.
Okay, root person on air. It doesn't... You have to hit this so hard. I mean, I'm gentle with these things because I think, it's modern technology. A screen like that probably costs thousands of pounds, and so I'm gentle with it. But actually, this show should come with a hammer. Hey, Joe.
Hiya.
What do you know?
Listen, I was listening to you about, not that long ago, when you were saying, how willing to see other women would be...
Joe, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Have you got one of these clip-on microphones that's on your blouse or something?
No, I haven't.
What kind of a phone are you using?
Yeah, by my tree now. No, I haven't.
What kind of a phone are you using?
I'm on the mobile at the moment.
A mobile. Are you, rustling the mobile next to you?
No,
what are you doing?
Is it coming through better now?
A little bit better, yeah.
Right, okay. Is it better now?
Well, I don't know. I'm going to have to pause, and we're going to do a little seminar on how to use the phone, and we'll be back.
Available on DAB Digital Radio.
London's LBC 97.3. London's LBC 97.3.
Nick Abbott. 0870 90 90 973.
Hey, Joe.
Oh, darling, does it sound better now?
Oh, that is so much better. I can't even put it into words.
Oh, brilliant. Okay.
I bet everybody says "Hey, Joe" at you all the time.
I'm sorry.
There's nothing to be sorry about. Don't they say "Hey, Joe" in a Jimi Hendrix way?
I'm sorry. No, what it was is...
Completely ignoring me and carrying on.
Sorry, I do understand how women feel about other women, because it's not only men who look at you in that way, it's women, and they perceive you in a certain way if you're well built.
Yes. What is that way? I'll tell you. Stupid, right?
Yeah, it is, absolutely.
And why do you think that is? I think it's jealousy.
It's not only jealousy. I think some women actually want to show it off, and then they show it off in a certain way. You're talking about Jordan, Jodie Marsh, and those sort of people, and yeah, they show it off, and it does look like really bad.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. Really bad? Is that true? If you've got it, why don't you?
A little bit too much is, when you I think it's like everyone wants to perceive in a certain way, but if you show too much, then you're going to get people going to look at you in that way.
Yeah, or stoned to death in the wrong country. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but if you're built that way and you dress well and you dress nice, you still can't help the way that you're built. Oh, thank God that he's given me them. But if you and I'm pretty pleased actually. I'm thankful. Yeah, they've fed my babies, which was the main thing. That's what they're there for.
Right.
Also, then I can also dress in a way that I feel comfortable,
Yeah.
and it doesn't show too much, but I'm still proud of the way that I am.
Can I ask you a question about this?
Yeah.
When you were a teenager and you were going out, did your dad ever choke on his dinner and say you're not going out dressed like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but that's Dad's though, isn't it? And that's Dad's and big brothers, but unfortunately, and I've lost quite a few in my family, but it's also in a way that, I appreciated that, but I'm proud of what I am.
So you have a Barbie doll physique with a minute waist and...
I'm an old-fashioned physique, actually. I'm big, I'm small, and I'm big. I've got hips, and I've got boobs, and I've got a waist, and I'm proud of it. I'm not this skinny type of thing that you see airbrushed on photos now, and I'm proud of the way that I look.
Right, all right, Joe. You've got the whole crowd behind you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Joe.
Thank you, darling.
Ta-ra.
Take care, Nick. Bye-bye.
This is LBC 97.3. You're going to have to help me out, because I've already done 4 hours today. It's a 7-hour day. Who in the history of radio has ever done a 4-hour music show followed by a 3-hour talk show? Is there anyone in the history of radio who's done? Oh yeah, me. Yeah, I used to do that all the time, and now I'm doing it again. And because the intensive part comes at the end of the day, I'll probably start flagging in 5-6 minutes. So I will give out the number 0870 90 90 973. I've got the game again. It's a brand new, totally refreshed and completely new game. Does anyone want to play? The prize is my money. Here's the first one. Here's the first one. He's a genius, isn't he? It's incredible how he's got so far. So these famous people saying the word to win my money. You want some? Here's one in it's a bloke called Robert. Robert
from the Rhondda.
Hey, how you going?
Hello. I haven't for the first time in God knows how many years. I haven't called you recently.
I know. Haven't I been lucky?
Yes, but I have very important news of where I was, which will be the subject of this phone call.
Where was you?
I was at a student radio conference in Southampton.
Oh, blimey, I'm amazed that you didn't die of boredom. A student radio conference?
Well, it's a perfect mix, isn't it? Students and alcohol and
a conference.
Yes.
About radio. No, that doesn't sound like a perfect mix to me.
Oh, well, probably the radio bit was the least most interesting aspect of it.
The least most?
Yeah. I do English in uni.
Yeah, you're a communicator.
Yeah, you want to talk like what I do? Sorry.
So what did you learn?
Well, I learned that people from the BBC are idiots.
And so fantastically well paid, it boggles the imagination.
There's a guy, I won't mention his name.
Yeah, what was his name? Don't say it.
I will. So tempting. He stood there, in front of us all, there's about 200 of us, saying how much he hated students, how much he got paid, and the joys of working for the BBC and how difficult it was to get in, but he had a job for life. It was...
Well, no, okay, what did he do for the BBC?
He was a producer.
A producer? Oh, well, he does have a job for life, then.
Yeah, he was on a breakfast show. I'll say that.
Okay, a national breakfast show?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Well, that narrows it down to 5.
7.
7? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I suppose so, with digital, yeah.
I guess.
Huh. Was it a digital station?
Well, I've been narrowing it down. Yes, it was.
It was a digital station?
It was a digital one.
Right.
It was one of the more popular digital BBC radio stations.
Well, that's one of the more popular. That's kind of relative, isn't it?
Okay.
I mean, it's an interesting use of the word popular. Not one that I've heard before, but yeah, okay, I'll play along. Popular, right.
So he was a very horrible person.
Why would he do that? Why would he come and irritate people by flashing his wad?
The thing was, I was there, it was just winding me up. I just wanted to throw something at this guy, and everyone was sitting there laughing. He was abusing us.
Ah, but was he being funny when he was doing it?
No, he was being awful.
Right.
Arrogant, but yeah, that is radio. It is a horrible, horrible industry.
Well, yeah, and there's a good reason why people are arrogant at the BBC, is because unlike commercial radio, where people aren't using other people's money, they're using their own money. Yeah. The BBC, they get a the BBC is an organisation where you can act without consequence as a manager or a producer or somebody a higher up, because anything you do, you don't have to get ratings and you don't have to even get results. You'll still get the money. And the amount of money that gets poured into each individual programme is just incredible when you come from... Like this programme here, if I was doing this programme right now in the BBC, I wouldn't be able to see the walls for people. I'd be surrounded by people who are just itching to go and get me a coffee or massage me or just tell me I'm great or like fan me. There's just no end of them. I've told this before, but I did a pilot. This was before I was even on the air for a digital station, probably one that you're talking about.
I think it is the one I'm talking about, yeah.
And it was an hour long, and they catered the show as though it was room service. A man in a uniform pushed a trolley groaning with food and sandwiches and crisps and coffee and tea and cake and... Ooh, tea. The show is being catered. I lied. Thanks, Lucy. Into a programme where you were talking. Of course, you can't eat when you're talking. That's rude. So it remained untouched. And after the hour, the gentleman, took away the untouched trolley of food, and another guy pushed a different trolley of food in for the next lot. Can you believe that? I mean, this is not even on the air. So can you imagine what they do when you're on the air? I said to one of them, who were just standing around, not doing anything, and looking idle. I thought, well, they're being paid, they look bored, so I'll ask her to get me a coffee.
I doubt they probably were getting paid. I said to the BBC, to get in, you don't get paid.
That's absolute nonsense. Of course you do.
No, you don't. I've been doing it. I've done so much work experience for the BBC, I've not seen a penny. And it's
a work experience, right. Well, these weren't work experience people, these were actual employees. So I said, can I have a coffee? And there was a fully functioning, rather rich-looking cafe. They just put like Starbucks on each floor, which of course nobody touched, because you don't need to, because you ask someone to get you a coffee, and they will bypass the cafe that's sitting there gleaming on the floor just 10 yards away, and they'll go outside the building to go and get a named brand coffee. And it doesn't matter what you want, they will cross town to get it. And you won't ask you for any money because it's in the budget. The BBC will pay for someone to go out and get you a Starbucks coffee. If you really want to drink that stuff. I can't bear it. I mean, Starbucks, how in God's name did they become so successful? That's not controversial to say, is it? Why would anybody drink there twice? I don't get it.
Very expensive.
It's expensive, but I don't mind expensive if it's great.
No. The BBC...
I mean, does Starbucks, have they dared to open a shop in Italy, for instance? I doubt it.
It's part of coffee culture.
They'd be laughed out of the boot.
Everyone lives in flats in the inner city and has a coffee and, lives the Friends lifestyle for now. So it all goes bust.
You sound depressed.
I am depressed.
Well, you've just been to a student radio conference. Of course you are.
Oh, that was 2 weeks ago. No, I'm doing an essay on... I'm just doing an essay now and it's depressing me.
On?
On, is liberalism the best ideology?
Yes.
Well...
Or no.
If
for balance.
anybody knows anything about classical liberal interpretation of democracy...
You don't need to know anything. Just Google it and then copy and paste.
There's nothing on Google.
Job done.
Useless. Absolutely useless.
Actually, Google does irritate me a lot, because you put something in Google and it'll come up with 10 million results, none of which have got anything to do with what you asked it for.
I did type in that woman you were talking about.
What woman?
One with the large...
Oh, Sarah Beanie?
Yeah. There's a lot of websites ordered her.
I bet there are, yeah. Many of which you have to pay to get into, yeah. Have your credit card ready. Yes.
Frankie Howard say, get your citizen.
Hey, by the way, I'm going to bring in a list of the emails that I get just tonight. Because when I open my email account tomorrow at home, I will have approximately 50 emails, none of which are addressed to me personally, but they're just filling in my email box with the most vile sexual subjects you could possibly imagine. And I'm thinking, if my parents were on the internet, if they knew how to work it and call it anything other than the wireless. To my dad, anything that works with electricity is the wireless, regardless of what it does. But if they had any idea how to get onto there, I'm sure they'd probably die of shock with the manner of emails that they get. I'm appalled.
Well, it's not just the internet anymore. I was watching Channel 4 the other day, and they had shocking pornography season, or something it was called.
Channel 4, yeah, your public service broadcaster. How do they get away with it?
Oh, I'd rather than to the BBC any day.
What's the first thing that comes into your mind when I say, what programme is... It sounds like you've got mail.
No, that was MSN. my housemate's chatting to me.
Your housemate?
Yeah, he's my housemate, but I'm not on university at the moment, so I'm back home.
Right. It's not that you're talking via your computer with somebody who's next door.
That does happen.
Right.
I have lots of conversations with everyone I live with through the computer. It's ridiculous.
That is mad. and businesses are like that as well. There's two people whose desks will be touching will converse to each other by email. That's insane.
It's true, but...
We've completely lost the ability or desire to actually talk to people now. It's like we're permanently living in the lift. You know, we don't want to make eye contact, and we certainly don't want to talk to strangers in the lift or on the train, or in fact just in London.
In case we get stabbed.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
What were you going to say? What's the first thing that comes... I like playing these games. What's the first thing that comes into my head if you say...
What's the first programme that comes in your head? I'll say Channel 4.
Big Brother.
Big Brother.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah, but I argue this with people. If you take Big Brother out of the equation...
Then it'll be another stupid reality programme.
They don't have any others, as far as I'm aware of.
Oh, rubbish. Somebody get me a paper. I bet that the entire week is stuffed with stupid reality programmes on Channel 4. They've got nothing but that. How is that as public service broadcaster? I'm confused.
Well, if you look at the BBC, I mean, look at the type they have on tonight. I mean, that's Strictly Dance People with Graham bloody Norton.
Oh, you haven't heard it? Graham Norton came out the other day and said that he's really upset that he's being shoehorned into being camp. What?
So was Frankie Howard.
Frankie Howard was John Wayne compared with Graham Norton. How is Graham Norton... I mean, I can't understand how he'd have the cheek to even say that. Oh, he's really upset because those nasty people at the BBC are forcing him to be camp. Graham Norton.
The BBC seems to have a monopoly on annoying presenters at the moment.
Well, they seem to buy everybody. That as soon as somebody's successful on another channel, rather than think up a new format or actually train staff, train presenters, they'll just go and buy somebody else. Because, like I said before, it's not their money. They don't care how much it costs.
Yeah, and they'll give it all to Martin Ross, etc.
Yeah, and I used to tell people, because I just guessed off the top of my head how much he earned per show, and people would look at me like I'm an idiot. Of course he doesn't get that much, because I would say, I reckon he'd get about 10 grand a show. I'll just pause to let that sink in.
10 grand a show?
Because when they reported all this in the newspapers, they reported it per minute, per year, and then per minute.
Yeah.
Neither of which sounds like a gigantic amount of money, because, you know, once you get over £1 million, then it all becomes funny money, and you can't conceive of how much it is, right? So it didn't actually sink in quite how much it was, and per minute it breaks it down into a relatively small amount, so it didn't hit you in the face. £10,000 a show. Pause to let that sink in. And people looked at me like I was a fool. Of course he doesn't. How on earth would he get 10 grand a show? Ridiculous, they'd say. He does. It's right there in black and white, apparently.
I've heard of cases in commercial radio where people get 9 grand a year.
Yeah, me. Yeah. 9 grand a year. Oh, luxury 9 grand a year. I dream of 9 grand a year.
People automatically think because you're on the radio or TV, you're getting paid a fortune. And if you're the BBC, you probably are. But,
well, yeah, that's right.
But commercial, I mean...
I'm interested to know how much they're paying the people on digital radio. The radio stations that no one listens to.
Quite a lot there as well.
A gigantic amount, yeah. I bet the breakfast show people, I bet the producer, the presenter, who works with the producer that was talking to your conference, I bet that presenter is on at least 2 grand a show. No one listens.
That person came because they do a tour of student radio stations.
Right.
And do live. They came to my station.
You're narrowing it down?
Nobody listened. They came to Extreme in Swansea.
Right.
And I watched that man eat. Oh my God. First thing in the morning, bloody hell.
Steady. Anyway, listen, I've got to go, Robert, because we're past the ads. Cheers, mate. Ta-ra.
Toodaloo.
But you know why they pay them that much money? Have a guess. Don't shake your head at me. It doesn't work on radio. We're not on TV, woman. Shaking your head.
I don't know.
I can't hear you.
Can't you hear me now?
This is like in the army. I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, that's better. The reason why, this is my theory, the reason why, because no commercial radio station would pay anybody 10 grand a show, would they? So it's not like they're trying to wrest him away from commercial radio, would they? Name me a commercial station that would pay anyone £10,000 a show for 3 hours, or 2, or whatever it is. And furthermore, staff it with, I bet he's got 30 people on that show. All those people on those big shows, on the big BBC stations, they must have like 10 people. How many have you got on commercial radio? If you're doing a music show, which all of these people are, which is crazy to me, you'll have you. That's it. And the BBC, they got like a runner and a producer. And what does the producer do on a music show? I mean, it all comes up on a computer anyway. You just press the button and mark next, and go hey, and that's it. £10,000. Thanks a lot. The reason that they pay them that much money is not because they can, it's because it flatters the people who are signing up the contracts. It makes them feel important. They're hiring people on £10,000 a show. How great would that make you feel to be writing that cheque, knowing that it's not your money? It flatters the management. That's why they give them that much money. They're not wresting the talent away from commercial radio, because at that price, they don't want it. Who would? That's insane. You'd never make your money back. So that's the bald facts there, ladies and gentlemen. That's the reason why they're giving these people all of your money, is because it makes them feel good to do it.
London's LBC 97.3
0870 90 90 973.
Nick Abbott.
And there's worse to come, I'm afraid to tell you. Let's leave the BBC alone for a while, and we'll talk about something else. But it just gets worse. I read something in the paper today about what's coming up on your friendly BBC station. You won't believe it. I'm telling you, it's stunning. I just laughed out loud. It's incredible. Anyway, let's go with, let's fly Mandy. Hey, Mandy.
Hi, Nick.
Mandy.
How are you?
Oh, I'm all right. How are you?
You always make me laugh. I'm fine, thank you.
What's up, Mandy?
This will make you laugh. Big time.
I'll be the judge of that.
It will. I was working the other day, doing my job.
Right. Not funny so far.
No, wait a minute. And you know when people ring in, there's like a carousel of women that go round and they listen to the woman they want to talk to.
I'm sorry, what?
What? You know what I do.
Oh, right. Okay, yes. Well, I'm back up to speed now. Right, you are... Well, we have to explain it. It's not like It's not like you're calling me at home. There are people out there. You work as
a chat line operator.
A chat line operator. Right. Gentlemen who are bored.
Yes.
Yeah, like if you're hanging around in your flat, you're bored stiff.
Yeah.
And you call people like you up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they listen to the voices, blah-de-blah-de-blah. And this call came through to me last weekend. And this guy said, hi, because my name's Lucy on there. Is that Lucy? I said, yeah. Who's that? And I can't remember his name, and that's the truth. And he's chatting about a minute, and then he said, can I ask you something? I said, yeah.
He wasn't called John, was he?
I can't remember.
Right.
He said, can I ask you something? I said, yeah. He said, is that Mandy?
No. Oh, no.
I said, is that a friend of mine? Who's that? Who's this? He said, do you speak to Nick Abbot on LBC?
Oh, come on.
I'm telling you. I said, yeah. He said, and did Richard Hakier sing Mandy for you on Clive Bull? I said, yeah.
Who's Richard Hakier?
He does the travel on Clive Bull.
Oh, him. He's great.
He's great. He sang Mandy. It was fantastic. And he said, I kept hearing your voice come round, and I just knew it was you. And so I spoke to him for about...
So how does this work? You're on the phone, and like various women come round and...
You choose one. The voice you like. And
really?
They're free.
Well, so you get a little clip of each person.
No, I've never rung in.
And it comes around on a it's like like a sushi bar.
Yeah, like a carousel. Yeah.
Right. And you just
but you can
pick the one you like and pop it in your ear.
Yeah, if they're not on the phone or talking to someone. I don't know how it works. I should ring in really and see, but I don't know. I'm not spending that kind of money to ring in. I'm not stupid.
Especially to talk to yourself, which would get really confusing after a while. How would you do it?
But he said to me, I've heard you talking with Nick Abbot about it. I said, yeah. He said he really was interested, wasn't he? I said, yeah. We thought it was very funny.
And I guess that was the end of that...
No, I spoke to him for about 40 minutes.
Oh, right.
It was a good call. Good money.
For who?
For me.
Oh, him. No, or you?
Me.
Right. How did he feel about it?
At all.
No, okay. Was it just a chat?
He lived in Bromley in Kent.
What was the address?
Everyone in Bromley.
And the address was?
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. But
well, give us his phone number. We'll have a chat with him now.
You didn't give it to me.
Was it?
But I said I was going to repeat the story so that he'd come through to me. And I said, what's your name? He said, I'm not telling you now.
Well, I think not. That's got to be rule number one. You don't ask them what their names are.
But they don't tell you the truth anyway.
Yeah, but neither do you tell them. Lucy.
Yeah,
do you like that she picked your name?
It's my stage name.
Because we've got a Lucy right here. Lucy's our producer.
I know. I think there's a few Lucys on the line, to be honest, where I work.
And how many... I'm fascinated by this. So you call up and you get clips.
Well, you hear... I told you, all the different topics, if they're into whatever they're...
Oh, so it's not the voice that they're picking, it's the...
topic and the voice.
Right. The subject matter.
Yeah.
At hand.
Yeah, but there might be 30 girls talking about that subject matter. So they go by what you say and...
So you're in competition now, because you only get paid when you're chatting, right?
Yeah.
Right. So you have to... Right, so it's a competition to have the sexiest voice.
Yeah, but I do have a good voice.
You certainly do, yeah, there's no question about
that. Because they use me also for voiceovers. I do some of the voiceovers for them.
Okay, and how does that sound?
I don't know. I've never heard those either.
Well,
I get paid well for it.
Let's find out. So you say things like... Without getting too graphic?
They're in the other room, I could read them. There are some I couldn't read you. But things like, if you want to... Because they also play erotic stories. If you want to listen to this next story, press button 1. If not, press button 2. It's that kind of thing.
Little Red Riding Hood. Do you do that one?
Yeah, well, not quite. Nor Debbie Does Dallas. Nothing like that. No, they're erotic.
Do you do erotic versions of ordinary stories, like they have porn versions of movies, like Shaving Ryan's Privates, things like that?
I've never heard of that. No, but if I were to write a story, which I'm not capable of, I'd get, and record it for them, I'd get good money for that. But I just can't.
Now, when you say good money, do you mean BBC money? Or?
I don't know, what's BBC money?
Oh, you
For
wouldn't believe
1,000
it.
words?
Massive, 1,000, probably a grand a word, something like that.
No, it wouldn't be that money. They pay you by the A4 page. If you do, I don't know, because I haven't written one. Because yes, I can write, and I have actually written when I first started doing this ages ago. I wrote one about chat line operators, which is very.
Well, here's all you do: you tape yourself on one of these calls,
Yeah.
and then just write that up.
Well, that's not so erotic.
Because if people are paying to hear you speak at them in an erotic manner, then that's an erotic conversation right there. Job done. Easy. You'd be knocking them out.
Yeah.
Literally and figuratively.
Yes. But how do I take
You're unsure. Tape it. Well, you only need to tape your end of the conversation. Presumably they're not joining in. They're not. They're not adding to the eroticism of the call.
They only want to hear my voice, though.
Right. So get one of those little dictaphones. Hey, how appropriate is that?
I won't say what I'm supposed to say. Yeah. You want me to say it?
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
I've got a dictaphone, actually.
I bet you do.
Well, not the dictaphone. I've got the playback bit, not the bit you're talking to. It doesn't help, does it?
Well, it sounds like you need to go down to Dixon's. Oh, too late, they're shut. Or is it Curry's? Which one's shut? They'll probably all be shut soon. Everything's being done over the net, including you, shortly.
Yeah.
And when I say done, I don't mean... Never mind. Anyway, listen, Mandy, we've got to go because, the new news is up.
Well, it's lovely to talk to you.
Absolutely. Hey, it was Mandy.
You take care.
Cheers, dear.
Available on DAB Digital Radio.
London's LBC 97.3.
London's LBC 97.3. 0870 90 90 973.
Nick Abbott.
So I'm confused. Why would they send a sniffer dog? Because sniffer dogs are trained to sniff certain particular things, right? I mean, you've got a sniffer dog for bombs and a sniffer dog for drugs, you know? So why would they send a drugs dog around the guy's house? Surely a bomb dog. Maybe they got the dogs mixed up. I mean, wouldn't you want to... if he's going to go into a house where he might be blown to smithereens, right? Wouldn't you want a dog to check for bombs rather than drugs? Drugs can't hurt, especially a nail clipping's worth. Drugs can't actually, blow you up. I mean, they can hurt you if you take them, of course. Of course. Just ask Liberace. 0870 90 90 973. You can say that because he's dead, right? He is dead, right? He's hanging out with Elvis in the Kentucky Fried Chicken. Leicester Square. If you rush, you'll find him. So, John Prescott, eh? Oh, so much to talk about. Like I said, you're going to have to help me out this evening because I'll start wilting very shortly because this will be 7 hours on the air. No one does that. Name one other person that does that. 7 hours on the air per day. Can you think of anybody in the history of radio, apart from me, that's done that? Because I used to do it, now I'm doing it again. Come on, Lucy. Anyone?
I know Steve Allen has on the station.
7 hours?
Yeah.
Nonsense.
He's done his morning show and then he's had to come back and do drive time.
Wow. Well, he's a man after my own heart, so to speak. Wayne Rooney? No! What is this with the metatarsal? I don't even know what that is, but it seems to be felling our chances of winning anything. Beckham got it last time around, and now Wayne Rooney's been stretched off the pitch after someone from Portugal clattered him. I didn't see it yet. Maybe he clattered them. How can a bloke who's built like a bulldozer be carried off the pitch? And how many men did it take to do it? So, for 6 weeks. But it's on in 6 weeks. That can't be happening. And Jose Mourinho is over the moon, Brian, or whatever it is that they say in that language. And Arsene Wenger isn't. Has he shaken hands with anybody lately? He seems to stalk off the pitch without shaking hands with people. What is that? That's very un-British. He should be more British. Let's go with one in St. Albans, shall we? Oh, I still can't work this machine. You really have to hit it. Ricky.
Hello.
Hey, Ricky, you're so fine. You're so fine, you blow my mind. Hey, Ricky.
No, it's Mickey, actually.
Oh, can I call you Ricky for the purpose of this call?
Yeah, my name is Ricky, but it's Mickey in the song.
Yeah, I know it's Mickey of the song.
Oh, you're taking the Mickey, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you know John Prescott and Charles Clark are in a new film together?
Oh, this will be a joke. He's got material, ladies and gentlemen. I can't wait to hear this. Go ahead.
Well, do you remember the film Dumber and Dumber?
Oh, is that it?
The remake of it.
Right.
I don't know which one's dumb, or which one's the dumber one.
Yeah, I think once you've told the joke and it gets no reaction, then you want to quickly move on, not dig yourself in deeper.
Yeah, what a sorry state, isn't it, eh?
Yeah, it certainly is, yeah. But maybe you'll do better next time.
Oh, I'll give it a go.
But not on this show, maybe. Well, maybe I'll get lucky. Anything else?
No, thanks.
Oh, okay, great. This 0870-9090-973. He was brief and to the point. Funny? Well, we could debate that. Should we debate it, Lucy? Or shall we just come right out and say it? Let's go with Joan. Hey, Joan.
Hello, Nick.
Joan.
You were talking about coffee earlier on.
Yes.
And it began to run around my mind.
I was talking about coffee.
Sort of, you know? You mentioned it in passing when talking about something else.
Oh, yeah, that sounds like me, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And you were saying about something wasn't good coffee. Oh, yes, Starbucks. And
Right, without mentioning any brand names, that's excellent, Joan. Well done, yeah. Starbucks, you say?
You said it.
Oh, right, me. Put the blame on me.
You were saying about, what about Italian coffee and so on?
You can't buy coffee in Italy. It doesn't matter where it's from. Just a guy holding up a cup on the street asking for spare change, please. It'll be the best coffee you've ever tasted.
Yeah, but what I want to know is, what is the best coffee? Because almost everybody I know wants their coffee differently. Some people, given the choice, say, oh, no, I don't want real coffee. I want instant.
Here's how you tell. The only way to tell what is good coffee is to have an espresso, because that's what they base most of these fancy coffee drinks on. It'll be a small shot of espresso and half a gallon of milk, and then syrup and all that rubbish that they put in it to disguise the fact that the coffee's rubbish. Yeah. That's why they put all that stuff in, because the coffee that they're using is rubbish.
You look at how many coffees there are on the supermarket shelf. There's Kenyan, there's Colombian, there's Arabian or whatever, Arabian.
Now you're just describing John Reed's kitchen cupboards. Colombian, yeah, Moroccan, yeah.
Well, there are all those. Now, you're not going to tell me one of those is any better than any other, really. It just depends on the person's taste, doesn't it, in the end?
I don't know what it is or where it comes from or how they do it, but you buy coffee in Italy and it just tastes fantastic.
I mean,
you buy it in this country and it's rubbish.
Yeah,
you can't get good coffee over here.
What does fantastic mean? Does it mean very, very strong?
I don't know. We'll look it up. Google fantastic.
No, really.
Well, espresso has to be. Here's how you tell a good espresso.
Yeah.
Immediately you take your first sip, you know you've taken drugs. That's how you tell a good espresso, because it's a shot of caffeine. And over here, it's just black water. And it's completely different in Italy.
So what you're saying is strong. If it's strong, it's going to be good.
And it has to be earthy and rich and deep, and the taste is long, and, I don't know how to describe it.
Because, I mean, most of the time when I smell coffee, I think that's fine. And then I taste it, and I'm not so sure.
Well, what kind of coffee are you drinking? Without
I've tried so many different coffees, and really I don't like
not instant coffee, right? Are there any instant coffee... Hang on a minute,
really
Joan. Wait a minute, Joan. Are there any instant coffee makers advertising with us right now?
Are there any what?
Hang on a minute, Joan.
No.
Not as far as we know. Well, if there are, it is an excellent boon to a busy day, and is a super drink whenever you feel like one. If they aren't... It's just like, it tastes like, to me, burnt water.
Yeah, but you see, it's a bit like anything. If you actually like burnt water, then you think that's a damn good cup of coffee, you know.
Well, I
and
suppose
if you like it very, very strong, you're going to say that's a good cup of coffee. And then there are all those people in between.
You know what? I've got a taste for tea now. My entire life I drank coffee, and you know what? Tea's better, because tea's wet. Coffee's dry. Coffee's like eating mud, right?
Well, if you're thirsty, tea's better.
Yeah, it is.
I used to think that black coffee was the thing. When I was in my teens, and I was working up in London, I thought, oh, you go in there and you ask for black coffee and it's marvellous. Except that all afternoon I was almost bright purple in my face because the coffee was actually too excitable for my skin.
Huh.
And so I had to stop.
I'd like some of that coffee.
You'd like some of that coffee?
Yeah, I don't think they make that anymore.
No? Well, I don't know.
Where did you get that? Lyons Corner House?
Oh, you know, where was it? It was somewhere down Oxford Street.
Oh, it almost certainly doesn't exist anymore.
It probably doesn't. And, oh, yeah, it was a nice restaurant.
Oh, there are no nice restaurants on Oxford Street. I know that for a fact.
Not anymore. But there used to be... Oh, there used to be this lovely place that I went into, and I shouldn't have, because I was supposed to be being a mannequin, but...
You're supposed to be being what now?
I was supposed to be being a mannequin.
What does that mean?
A model. I was a model. In a clothes house. So, you know,
Model in a clothes house.
Yeah, you know, they used to make all these different suits and coats and whatever, and in bulk. And so the buyer would come from different stores, and you would try on the thing, and you'd walk up and down, and they would say, oh, yeah, I like that suit, I'll order 1,000.
That's what you do all day?
And it was terrible. It made me ill. But anyway, in the meantime, I used to...
Ill? Walking up and down? Ill?
Yeah, it was just so boring.
Oh, boring.
It was so boring. Yeah. I was ill. But I got out of it fairly quickly. But in the meantime, it was very nice trying out all these different places along Oxford Street. And
right, do me a favour, Joan. Don't go along Oxford Street now. You'll be appalled.
I wouldn't go near it. The last time I was up there, it was terrible. Yeah. I can't believe anybody wants to go there. I mean, there's noise, there's mess, it's a dreadful place.
Do me another favour, Joan. Don't go down the King's Road for a couple of days. It's filthy.
Uh-huh.
Is
it always filthy down there?
No, it's not that bad. No, it's never this bad as it is right now. If you want to, your eyes opened, or like half of the planet's rubbish is currently in the gutter on the wrong end of King's Road right now due to football.
Oh, there's something to do with football?
It is, yeah.
Oh, Chelsea.
Yes, Chelsea.
Yes.
I thought I'd get through the entire, because I was going to take Match of the Day, and I was going to watch it when I got home, and I thought I'll try and not listen to the news, which is like 8 news breaks, right? So I'm on the air for 7 hours a day, and every hour I go for the news. And I pulled the news down in order not to hear what the result was, right? That's impossible. You just can't do it. Impossible. You cannot do it. So I know what the result is, but I'll...
Oh, well, I'm much more worried about Liverpool anyway.
Worried?
Oh, yes, because they're doing extremely well.
Well, so what's the worry?
Well, I mean, I just want to make sure they get to the very top. I think they're very near the very top, aren't they?
Well, I think it's a little late for that, Joan. Maybe next year, eh?
What do you mean? No, this other thing they're doing. I mean, they're getting through all their matches.
Right, well, with you and me, this could be a sports phone-in. We'll call it sports talk.
No, I don't talk about sport much.
Right.
You can tell why.
Yeah, because I don't know like me, you know nothing. Yeah. Hey, do you want to play the game?
What's that?
It's where you have a chance to win my money. This is not radio station money. This is actually my money.
Well, you haven't got any money.
Exactly. From what little money I can scrape together, I'll give you...
Buttons.
How's 20 quid sound? That's not unreasonable, is it?
No.
Not only will I won't...
It's too much.
I won't give you the money.
Already.
I won't give you the money because that would be, I don't know, something indecent about that, but I'll go and buy you something with it. I will take my time and my money...
How hard is this game? Is it very difficult?
It's famous people saying the word Now, I'm not cheating here. These are...
Oh, right. Okay. Yes, I think I did hear that earlier on.
These are super famous people who are all household names and have all been in the news this week.
And is there more than one at a time?
No, there's not more than one at a time.
You just play one?
Yes.
Okay.
Ready?
All right.
Oh, the sound of silence. I thought I'd never hear it during this call.
I know who that is.
Okay, here's number 1.
you know, like,
Well, you know who I want to say, but of course it's not going to be.
Oh, you must know who that is.
Well, it's Bush, isn't it?
It's Bush.
Isn't it?
Yes, push in the bush.
No, it is Bush, isn't it?
It is Bush.
Of course it is.
Stop saying Bush, Joan.
Oh dear.
Right, I'm number 2. This is more difficult.
Oh.
You have to get them all right? I'm not going to give you 20 quid for that.
One at a time.
No, not one at a time, one after the other.
Yes.
Totally different.
All right.
If you just stop speaking for a moment, you'd hear what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yak, 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 yak. I'm number 2. Now, the first one was kind of languorous. Like that. How do you stop this once you start it? Can it be stopped? No. Oh, no. We've got to sit through this. I like the at the end.
Oh, that's all very well.
The brain drain has started right there.
The second one I want you to play at great length.
So that was that was very languorous. I mean, you could virtually hear it's like a cold starting a car. Cold starting his brain.
You know, he's rather good in that
I doubt it.
new film.
Well, George Bush?
Yeah, Hugh Grant film. They play a
starring George Bush.
It's just like George Bush, with the ear thing and everything, where he hears people talking to him.
Joe, can we stick to the point?
Oh, all right.
Now, I've got no idea what you're talking about.
You haven't seen the film?
Well, I don't know. What film?
Hugh Grant film.
With George Bush in it?
Yeah, well, except it's not George Bush, but it's somebody that behaves very like George Bush.
And there was a monkey or something?
No.
Didn't you say monkey?
No.
Or ape or something like that?
There's this thing that he has in his ear that he listens to what people tell him to say.
Right. Did you hear her say monkey, Lucy?
No.
Something about a monkey. I'm
No.
sure there was a monkey in there.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
I'm number 2. It's like being shot, isn't it? Like being shot with a machine gun. There's no warmth there at all. And the breath was
that'd be Prescott.
There won't be Prescott.
Oh,
wrong. Incorrect. No.
Oh, shame. Oh, that's a terrible thing. I didn't win then.
No, I guess not. No.
Okay.
But you did take up a lot of our time.
Oh, sorry about that.
No, that's great, because that's much less time for me to speak.
You did a lot of speaking, you know.
I seriously
You
doubt
almost
that.
stopped me at times.
Almost.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Joan.
Thank you. Bye-bye
It was
now.
Joan in Wallington. Where's Wallington? It's like Birmingham or something, isn't it? Hey, Joan, you still there?
Yeah?
Where's Wallington?
Well, it's between Croydon and Sutton in Surrey.
Ah, yes, near Birmingham. Yes, I was right the first time. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Ta-ta, this is LBC 97.3.
London's LBC 97.3.
0870 90 90 973.
Nick Abbott.
Let's go with a mobile. It would be rude not to. I'll have a tumour the size of a golf ball if we don't go quick. David.
Oh, hello, Nick. Good evening.
Good evening.
Just wanted to call about coffee. It was quite an interesting conversation that you had. And I agree with you about coffee. My wife's Italian, and 20 years ago, I discovered that there is no better coffee than an Italian espresso. I travel all over the world, and Brazil, I was just 2 days ago, I've returned from Brazil, and I often am disappointed in Brazil that it's a coffee-producing nation, and it exports coffee to Italy. But they can't make a good cup of coffee like the Italians do, because it's basically, I think, the art of roasting the coffee is always perfected by the Italians. It always has been. And
I don't know what it is they do. You think it'd be really simple, because presumably restaurants in Italy, they just buy coffee in bulk like everywhere else in the world, and they put it through the machine, and what comes out, it tastes totally different to what you get in this country.
yes, no, I have had bad coffee also in Italy, but I'll tell you what it is. When you buy a coffee in Italy, it is more percentage of the coffee is actually Arabica rather than Robusta, which is, of course, what they use. It's the lower grade which they use to mix. And when you're mixing coffee with milk and, God knows, with cream and all that stuff, then it doesn't really matter much because, you're not really tasting the coffee at one point. And the way you can tell a good coffee is when you have a good espresso and it makes its own cream. Have you ever had an espresso when they've given you a cup and you have a froth, almost like a froth on top, like a creamy froth?
Yeah. And how is that an indication of good coffee?
That is actually more of the Arabica, and it's really come out of a very hot machine. Because most of the time it's also not the coffee, but it's the machine. And if the machine hasn't been serviced regularly, it doesn't tend to have the pressure. And it's really, the coffee needs to be pumped out at a very high pressure. And of course, as I think you've noticed in Italy maybe, that also they keep the cups warm.
Yeah.
On top of the espresso machine. So it's a lot to do with the pressure that it's pumped through. And I think in Italian, my Italian's not very good, but it's called spuma. So when the Italians actually recognize a good coffee when it makes a nice spuma, the cream.
Spuma.
Yeah, spuma. I think.
Right, or you've annoyed your waiter, and there's spuma in the top of your coffee. Yeah.
Yeah, no, not really. I think it's to do with. If I can mention a brand, then I'll.
Oh no, please don't. I think we've delved into this subject enough. But thanks for the info, Dave.
Okay.
Cheers, mate. Ta-da. Well, that was comprehensive, wasn't it? 08709090973. I'm Nick Abbott, and this will be my 5.5 hours on the air today so far, and I'm getting no help at all. Does anybody want to win my money? The game. You must know who this is. It is like being shot, isn't it? The clue is the deep breath in. He kind of unhinges his jaw in a really scary... Does he have something wrong with his nose, maybe? I don't know. Can he breathe through his nose? Because all these words, they come out, and you're like falling asleep as he's speaking. And then there's... like he's gasping for his last breath. Anyway, it's him. There's only, what are there, like 5 more or something like that? 20... with my money, I will go out and buy you whatever you want. I mean, how great's that? Not radio station. We're not going to like get some CD that we've been sent here, which is what other radio stations do, and send out some rubbish. You tell me what you want, I'll go and buy it for you. If it takes a day, I will scour London, or I'll just buy it on the net. So, Lucy, John Prescott, hot or not?
Not. That was too easy.
I read Lorraine Kelly today. She writes in The Sun. You know what? Who doesn't write in The Sun? Everybody on the face of this earth has got a column in The Sun. There's someone called a fat bloke who used to do a local radio down here called John Gaunt. How can a fat bloke be called Gaunt? He's got a column in The Sun. How did that happen? And it's like going back in time and reading Richard Littlejohn's column. Is he on the Mail these days, Richard Littlejohn? I guess so. The Mail, I won't go that far. I'll read The Sun because it's funny. Although it wasn't funny today. The inside page of the Sun. You know page 2? You probably don't. The Sun has actually got page 2. Most people don't see it because it's opposite you-know-what. And it's always the actual news, which is on page 2. And the rest of it, of course, is, what Jordan has done and what Chantel has done. Can we talk about Chantel, for just a second? My question is, what? ... exclamation mark, question mark. What? How is it that we're still hearing about this woman? What has she done? Tell me. I've got no idea. What is she good at? I mean, she's not even good at being stupid, like Jade Goody is. She was on the front page. She ran a bit. That was it. The front page of The Sun. Jade Goody stopped running. Newsflash. You know, the TV, the news channels, they've got to stop doing this. They put those banners up for people that can't operate their volume control. What is that? You can't see the picture for the banners. Breaking news. It's 9:10. I mean, everything is breaking news for these people. It never stops. And there's banners that scroll along the bottom, and banners that tell you what time it is, and banners that tell you what they're talking. We know what you're talking about. We're watching you. There's a TV news company in America that's actually heeded this. The people are upset, and they're just annoyed with it, because you're seeing a news story and you're trying to watch it, but it's in a postage. The actual picture is in a postage stamp-sized window on the actual television. All the rest is taken up with words. And they said, right, yeah, we get it. We've gone over the top now. And it's a break. As in right now. Bye.
London's LBC 97.3.
Nick Abbott. 0870 90 90 973.
And I thought Andy Crane was such a nice boy. So, where was I? Oh, what about that timing, though, eh? Oh, goodness me. I mean, if I was a second later, we'd have botched the news. And when I say we, I mean you, Lucy. You're the producer, the buck stops at you, right?
I did put it on the screen.
Oh, screen. Yeah, but, okay. Yeah, put it on the screen. I'll pay attention, and I am a professional. You can trust me. I've only been on the air for 10 hours today already. The number, 0870 90 90 973. What was I talking about? Oh, it'll be interesting to see the reason. Now, I was listening to that news, and the man said that, what's her name, who did with John Prescott, has come out and said that she's going to give the reason that she's going to tell her story in the newspapers. And the very next sentence that I spent on the news said was that she's being paid an enormous amount by the Mail on Sunday. Now, the two are not connected. You do understand that. She's not doing it for the money. We're not saying that. But I'm sure it'll come in handy. So, I was reading Lorraine Kelly today. You know that nice Lorraine Kelly. What does that mean? She is nice. I won't have a word said against her, Lucy. She is nice. She doesn't work here, does she?
No, she's very smiley.
Yes, she is very smiley, but then she does a smiley job. She smiles for a living. But she's not smiley in the Sun. She's got a column in the Sun, like I was saying earlier on. Everyone's got a column in the Sun. John Gaunt has got a column in the Sun. Can you believe it? Like, who is he? He's got a column in the Sun. I could get a column in the Sun. All I'd have to do is chop up Richard Littlejohn's old columns and represent them. Well, we don't like this, we don't like that. And anyway, Lorraine Kelly was saying that what women do in the privacy of their own bedchamber, you wouldn't believe. No, that's not what she said. She said that what they do in parties and in bars and at hen nights is that they do. Now, I don't know whether I can say this. You know, tobacco. You know, loose tobacco is called S-H. There used to be a dance of that name. Can you say that on the air?
Well, you probably can.
I can't hear you.
You can, because it's in context.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm going to say?
Yes. S-H. Yes.
S-H.
Yeah.
You say it first.
You say it first.
No, I'm not saying it. Not take responsibility. Say it.
Shag.
Shag, that's right. They play a game called Shag or Die. Have you heard of this? You're a woman.
No, I haven't played this game.
I thought you were saying, no, I'm not a woman. That's like, hey, revelation.
No, I believe I am.
Now, okay, well, let's play it now. Tom Cruise, Lucy.
Oh, I've kind of changed my mind. It will.
What? You'd rather die?
No, Shag.
You must be joking.
Okay.
Why have you changed your mind?
Well, because I think he's become a bit strange.
Strange?
Yeah.
Define strange.
Well, I find the whole eating the umbilical cord quite unsavory.
Oh, that was a joke, surely.
It was not a
joke.
joke.
Come on, he's not going to eat the umbilical cord.
But I'm a bit disappointed that nobody asked him that at the premiere. No one said, have you actually eaten it yet? That's what I want to know.
I only read that like everybody else, but I'm absolutely certain that was just a joke. It was an offhand.
He was going to eat it.
No, he wasn't. No, he's not that weird.
He is that weird.
He isn't. Tom Cruise does not eat placenta.
But his... Oh, I can't say, well, it's not wife, is it? But she wasn't allowed...
Isn't it? What, his wife?
No, he's not married to her yet.
What?
No, isn't it outrageous?
Really?
No. That will happen. Well, they've only been together 3 months, haven't they, before... He's proposed to her.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's the gentlemanly thing to do.
We can't really play that game with him, can we, if he's now, to be wed?
You don't have to actually go out and do it or kill yourself in reality. Well,
that's a relief.
It's just theory. So, Tom Cruise. S or D?
S.
S?
Yeah.
Right. John Prescott.
D.
And that's a pause. Rather die. Okay. This is, alright, let's just go through this because you've got to, really, haven't you? Love cheat John Prescott was last night fighting to save his marriage and career after admitting bedding his secretary for 2 years. Can you believe it? For 2 years. I mean, you'd think once would be enough. Like there'd be a mistake of a life. And she'd think, no. That's a lot of mistakes, isn't it? 2 years. Come on. His mistress, Tracy, was... I don't know, there's just something funny about that she's called Tracy. 43 was... Yeah, how old he is? She's like 67 or something. He's really old. His wife actually looks good. She's 66. John Prescott's wife. He was lucky once. That he got lucky twice. No one can believe it. His mistress, Tracy, was rumbled by her trucker boyfriend when she began blurting out Two Jag's name in her sleep. Yeah, she'd be saying things like, "Get off! You're crushing me! I can't breathe!" Things like that in her sleep. Shocked, Barry Williams, 46, told how he heard her describe sex acts with the deputy MP. He said, "My blood ran cold." I bet it did. Barry went on, "I'd be woken up by Tracy's ecstatic remarks about Prescott's abilities between the sheets." Oh, come on! This sounds like one of those stories that Mandy reads out on the air. Colleagues told how she and Prescott, he's 67. I'm just... anyway. Dubbed two shags by opposition MPs now, ended up in bed following an office Christmas party in 2002. Now, you see, office Christmas parties, everyone's drunk. It's understandable. It's not understandable, but you can kind of get it. 2 years later, no. The pair, they were amazed when Prescott lifted her skirt at the bash to see if she was wearing stockings. The pair then spent the night drinking and dancing together. Tracy, in a sexy low-cut top, later joined fellow civil servants. I'm reading this out of a newspaper, by the way. This is not something I picked up in Soho. Tracy, in a sexy low-cut top. I wonder if she has one of those low-cut tops, crop tops with the short jeans and a burst of flesh. No. It's like a nuclear explosion of flesh. It just bursts out in every direction. How can you leave the house looking like that? Really? Anyway. Do I sound like your dad, yes? Tracy, in a low-cut, sexy top, later joined fellow civil servants who carried on the party back at Prescott's flat. Which one? She eventually got a cab back to her hotel at 3:30 a.m. Staff were said to be shocked the next day when Prescott lay on his office sofa cuddling Tracy during a drinks party for ministers, dignitaries and senior policemen. Both of them on the one sofa. That must have been a huge piece of furniture. As details of his romps emerged, Prescott insisted that the affair ended some time ago. Then he admitted his wife Pauline had been devastated. I bet. Stunned would be another word. Incredulous. Disbelieving. Well, a word. I don't know, maybe she was, maybe Tracy was attracted to his hot body. What do you think? Maybe it was his nice personality. No? Well, then I give in. What then? You know what he reminds me of is, did you see, Austin Powers 3? I think this was 3 or maybe 2. There was a Scottish character called Fat B word that we can't say on the air. I won't even attempt to do that. And that's what they were right. Oh, I'm so sexy. I'm actually rubbing myself as I say it. Well, you can't not, can you? Oh, look at my nipples. He's the spitting image, am I right? I eat babies. Can I just say, there is no evidence to suggest that John Prescott eats babies. So the Sun further went, oh, they're having a laugh with this. They're loving it. We approached 10 women yesterday to ask if they'd sleep with 2 shags, and incredibly, one said yes. Travel agent Claire Rush, 19, from London, wouldn't do the deed for all the money in the world. She said, he's a bit... This is a newspaper in this country. He's a big, fat, ugly piece of blubber, she said. I hope his wife kicks him out. Oh, come on, Claire, tell us what you think. Don't hold back. Spanish uni student Angie Stridham, 23, said, no way, not if my life depended on it. He's hideous. Nurse Laura Forbes, 27, from Oxford. Why do you always need to know their age? I mean, we don't need to know anything about this woman, but in her height, her hair colour, anything, but they will stick her age in. And if she's blonde, her hair colour. Nurse Laura Forbes, 27, from Oxford, claimed, when I look at his toad-like features, I want to hurl. The thought of him in the bedroom is repulsive. Just think of him for a second, Lucy. Just think for a second of him in the bedroom. Have you got that image? Think about it. Concentrate. Now think about him jumping up and down. Have you got that? Student Tara May, 18, from Birmingham, said no. He's like Jabba the Hutt from Star Wars, except Jabba's better looking. But amazingly, we did find a girl who said yes, on one condition. Telesales worker Nikki Smith, 24, from Bristol, admitted, I would shag John Prescott, but only if he gave me one of his jags. And we go to a break now.
You can do.
If I like. Yeah, all right, why not? I like the Mac cartoon on the front page of the Telegraph on the same day. It was a woman talking to a man who was reading about the Prescott affair, and the woman says, if I had to choose, I'd rather John Prescott punched me.
Nick Abbott.
London's LBC 97.3.
And she what in? 0870 909. Oh, she just said that. Repeating herself. This is LBC 97.3. I'm Nick Abbott, and let's go to Islington. Hey, Ollie.
Hello, how are you?
All right, thanks.
Good, good. Just to do the quiz. The thing?
The game, yeah.
Yeah. I think it's...
Well, hang on a minute. Don't go straight into it, because, this is it's a bit brazen. We've got to have a chat first. I mean, it's my money and my time, after all. I'll spend a day or more, depending on however long it takes, to get you what you want with £20 of my money. You can't just, steam in and ask for it. It's like passing a bloke in a shoe shop doorway. Have you got any spare change, please? How about a chit-chat first?
All right, fair enough.
So, what have you been up to then, Ollie?
Nothing much. Just went up to...
Oh, right, well, let's go on with the quiz then.
No, I went up to Baker Street for dinner. That was nice.
Baker Street?
Yes.
Are there nice restaurants on Baker Street?
This one was.
On Baker Street? Actually, on Baker Street?
It was in Dawson Street, actually.
Right.
It was on the corner.
Okay, so who was there?
No one famous. Me and Mum and my dad.
Oh, you went? Okay, this is excellent. How old are you?
I'm 16.
16, and you went for a meal with your parents?
I did indeed. I'm quite lame.
And that's not lame. I went for a meal with my parents just the other day.
Yeah, you're allowed to, though.
Well, because I'm older.
Yeah.
Yeah, at your age, it could go either way. So how was it?
Yeah, it was good.
Was it embarrassing in any way?
Not really. My dad started speaking French to the waiter.
Well, see, that can be embarrassing. I mean, is he in England? Is he aware of that? It was a French restaurant. Let's hope so.
Well, yeah, I think so. But the waiter was French anyway.
So was he showing off, or did the waiter not speak English?
Showing off.
Showing off, right. So that's a little bit embarrassing.
Yes, it was.
Right. Anything else?
No, nothing really.
Did you drink?
No, of course not.
So he ordered wine for himself?
And Mum.
And your mum, but none for you. So what were you drinking? Like Coca-Cola or...
Yeah.
Right. See, now I would think that would be embarrassing because what are you treating you like a child? You're 16 years old.
No, I don't like wine. Wine's horrible.
Wine is horrible.
Yeah.
See, I have no idea. I've been drinking it all this time. Who knew? If only you'd talked to me years ago, I could have saved myself a fortune. Wine is horrible.
Wine tastes horrible.
What do you... well, wine doesn't taste horrible. It's like one of those things...
Wine's a sophisticated...
Well, it's an acquired taste. It's not much of an acquired taste. You don't have to go... It's not like whiskey. You won't be there for the next 10 years.
I like whiskey.
You like whiskey, you don't like wine.
No.
That's crazy.
I'm crazy.
You're crazy and so much in love. Hey, who are you in love with, Ollie?
I'm not.
Not at the moment. Right, okay.
Give it time.
So, I'd be about... So, did he order the booze and exclude you because of your...
He offered me.
Right. But you said no.
Really, if the police are listening, but...
Okay. Well, you can drink at 16 in a restaurant, can't you? Surely.
I've no idea.
Right. How can you like whiskey? I don't like whiskey. You're telling me you smoke cigars next?
I don't drink on a regular basis.
Right. But whiskey, though, I mean, that's about the most difficult drink to get used to that I can think of. I mean, brandy's easier.
Vodka's horrible.
Vodka doesn't really taste of anything, and you just dilute it in things that do.
It's a burning.
It tastes of burning. Right.
As it goes down, because it's gorgeous.
Right. So what did you eat tonight, then, Ollie?
I had veal. It was lovely.
Veal? That's nice. So they killed a little baby...
deer.
Cow, yeah.
Deer.
Deer, Cow, deer. Donkey. Could have been anything.
Yeah, it could have been anything. Well, it tasted nice, though.
Well, yeah. Poor little thing, though. Didn't you think about the poor little thing?
No, not at all.
Right. So veal...
Yeah, well, I don't care about animals.
Veal followed by...
a chocolate and rum tart.
Right. Chocolate and rum tart. Very nice. So you're in school?
Pardon?
You're in school?
Not today.
No, but generally. You do school for a living, right? Yeah. Are you watching this program that's called That'll Teach Them, where they send kids back to 1950?
I want to. Mom, Dad keep turning the TV off and telling me to go upstairs and do revision.
Well, that's excellent. See, now, that's the kind of parents that should be, there should be more of. Yeah.
I ignore them, of course.
You ignore them. Now, what are the consequences of you ignoring them?
They shout at me. Normally.
Right. And is that it? And when they shout at you, what? Do you ignore them more?
No, I just have to talk to them normally.
See, now, this is the... So we're going to get into the problems with society.
Yeah.
The problem with society is that people of your age are acting in a world of no consequences.
That's not true. That's not true at all.
It is true. No. It might not be true for you personally, but it is true for the society at large.
It's a big generalisation.
Well, generalisations are a reflection of the truth.
No way.
Yes, that's because otherwise there wouldn't be generalisations. Generalisation is just the average.
You're too smart for me.
But I very much doubt that. But that is actually the problem, and it's a problem now, but it's going to be an even greater problem in the future. See, what they've done to these kids is that they've taken them back into a facsimile of what it used to be like at school, where you used to be drilled. Let me rephrase that. You used to be...
drilled again.
You used to be dragooned into paying attention and doing what you were told.
Yeah.
And if you didn't, the consequences would be you would be thrashed. You would hold your hand out, they'd put a Bible over your wrist so they didn't slit your wrist open and kill you, and they'd thrash you on your bare hands.
Nowadays, most kids hit the teacher back.
Or, well, nowadays you could be stabbing the teacher in the face, and it would be illegal for him to even call for help.
Stop doing it, you're right.
Which is, well, yeah, if you say stop doing it, you'd be abusing their human rights to express themselves. So, and the program is a fascinating one, because at the beginning, all the kids are very stroppy about it, and then, I can't wear my earrings, and I've got to do what I'm told, and I don't want to do this, and I don't want to... Yeah. And then eventually, as they're, dressed in their school uniforms, which they're not used to, and taught in single-sex classes, which they're not used to, and being actually taught sort of hands-on things, rather than everything's all airy-fairy and theory, they come around, they may have just been cut up this way by the editors, but it seems to me that the kids come around to thinking that, oh, you know what, this is a better way of learning, and I am learning more.
They
And
wouldn't show it if they said, "Oh, no, this is crap."
and it's I'm sure they would. I mean, there's no end of clips of them being stroppy. But it seems to me that they're coming around to thinking that you know what, it does actually benefit you to be in a classroom where there is some sense of discipline, which, from what you hear, I mean, I haven't been in a classroom in a good long while, but from what you hear and read, that ain't the case anymore, because teachers don't have any way to instill their authority on the classroom.
At all, I think. In some cases that is true, but my science teacher, for instance, is a young guy, and because he talks to us like we're humans rather than we're the sort of students, it works better because he gets respect from us, because he respects us. Whereas if a teacher who doesn't respect the student, just teaches at them rather than teaches to them, they won't get respect.
Right. Now, that's the crucial difference, because in the old days, it was a one-way street. He didn't, no teacher respected the kid, or he might have done, on the quiet. It didn't make any difference. The children had to respect the teacher because he was in authority. I mean, if you went to the army, for instance, and you insisted on the sergeant major giving you respect, otherwise you weren't going to go and do 100 push-ups or yomp over the hill and dale, then how do you think that he would be receiving that?
Different though, because you go into the army voluntarily. Well, you're made to go to school, so if you want to go to school, so if you're made to go to school, you at least feel like there's some point for you to go to it. Rather than the army, you know there's going to be an outcome.
Here's the problem, Ollie. Yeah. The problem is that with a lack of discipline in the schools, what kids can get away with, they're starting, because all kids want to push boundaries. They want to push barriers because they don't know how much they can get away with, so they don't, because you're always trying to find your place in the world, right? Yeah. And so you're pushing left and right just to see what you can actually do. In the 50s, 60s and 70s, until relatively recently, what you could do and get away with was very little indeed. And so you were starting from a very low base. And so smoking a cigarette in the bike sheds at the break was about as naughty as it got. Yeah. These days, stabbing your fellow pupil in the face is about as naughty as it gets, or bringing a gun to school, or shooting up heroin at lunchtime. Yeah, so they're starting from a much higher base, because they've learned that you can get away with anything.
Recently a kid stabbed another kid in the leg at my school and they got expelled, but they didn't go to prison for anything. It's just ridiculous. But, like, if you get caught smoking at school, you probably get, like, put on, like, I don't know, community service duty, we're going to go and pick up rubbish. And that's what kind of happens now. Hello?
Yeah, I'm listening. But see, that's, you know, I know I'm starting to sound like an old geezer here, but I do feel that is a problem that we're storing up, because if you allow people to grow up in, and it's not just the schools, it's the parents as well. Parents these days are stupid by and large, because they'll just let their little flopsy-wopsy boobies just run around and do whatever it is that they want, because it's their lovely little boo-boos. And you think, oh, God, get a grip. You know, actually give them some kind of framework in which to live. But they don't. And so if you grow up in an atmosphere of no consequence, then you don't have any sense of where the barriers are. And so your bad behaviour starts at a much higher level. And so you think, well, you know, that you can get away with pretty much anything, which is where we're at now. And if those people become parents, then their children, I mean, you know, it's a pretty dim future.
Yeah.
I don't want to depress you, but
I've always been told that if you do something wrong, then something bad will happen.
Do you go to a private school?
No.
Right.
Why?
Well, just that you seem to be very well spoken. You seem to be able to, you know, express yourself better than I do.
Oh, I am quite well spoken, actually.
And you go to...
This is my phone voice.
And you go to a comprehensive?
I do.
Right.
I do, yes.
Hands up, who's surprised at that? Anybody? Lucy?
No, I don't
You're prevaricating.
Well,
Why are you surprised?
I don't know, doesn't he sound like he goes to a private school?
Well, just he speaks nicely.
Yeah, exactly.
Does that automatically mean private school?
Yes, pretty much.
Well, just grab manners.
Everybody else was like, you're so stupid. Hey, do you belt your jeans around your knees?
No.
Good lad. Right, I'm number one.
You know, like,
He's the leader of the free world, he is. George Bush, we know that one. I'm number two. It's like being punched in the face, isn't it? Any ideas?
Neil Kinnock.
Neil Kinnock is the wrong answer. Oh dear.
I'm stupid.
What a shame, never mind. Let's go with Kathleen, if I can get her up here. Does anybody break this by pressing it so hard, or is it just me? Hey, Kathleen.
Hello, how you doing?
All right.
I called because I haven't been listening to the show because basically I'm in Worcestershire and I don't have any software to support listening online, so I called basically to listen via the phone.
You don't have any software to listen online?
No.
Well, download
I've tried to.
Real Player or Windows Player or any of those other
I've
things.
got those.
Brand names.
I can't get the one that I need to download, so I thought, well, what am I going to do? Because I'm in Worcestershire, so I thought I'd just listen via the phone.
Do they have the internet in Worcestershire?
Of course they do.
Go on our website.
I have.
Press the button.
I've been there, done that.
What happens?
It's not happening.
Have you got a sound card?
No.
You haven't got a sound card?
No.
Do you know what that is?
I've got a pretty good computer. It's just that I think it's because it's a media, it's a Windows job. So I just.
Oh, Windows! Don't sometimes you want to just take Bill Gates and throttle him?
Yes.
Just till his eyes pop. Oh, too late for that. But
the unfortunate thing.
So his tongue sticks out and turns purple.
Oh, that sounds a bit mean.
I bet I'm not alone in that either. Sometimes you just want to take the computer and throw it out the window, right?
Well,
it just drives you up the wall.
Drastic, really.
So you've got a sound. You don't know if you've got a sound card. You do know if you've got a sound card. You've got a computer. When did you buy this computer? What are you running on it?
Well, I've got that thing that you mentioned, the Real Player. I've got that, and also I can play music on it and everything. But it's just the internet radio thing. I haven't mastered that yet.
You can play music on it.
Of
Are you sure it's not? It's not a piano. Or it's an actual computer, right?
It is a computer, yes.
Right. You want to call up one of those helplines? They're great. Have you got any money?
Well, I could call one of those, but I think I just wouldn't know where to start. So I thought, well, I'll call.
Plus, after about 5 hours talking to one of them, you want to kill yourself. By which time, all of the money will have drained out of your bank account.
Available on DAB Digital Radio. London's LBC 97.3.
London's LBC 97.3. 0870 90 90 973.
Nick Abbot.
So our nice newsman was falling over himself to assure everybody that no one thinks that John Reed is a stoner. Well, doesn't look like one, does he? Let's check his record collection. Inagata Davida? No. How is that news? I'm confused. And how did that become general knowledge? Do you ever wonder, the police will arrest someone and suddenly it's in the papers. How did the press find out? The police tell them, right? There can't be any other explanation. Somebody gets arrested, or George Michael has another car accident, and suddenly we all know. How? That fit right in, didn't it? I should be a DJ in my other life. But I've always wondered that. I mean, so are they on the take? Do they have the Sun on speed dial and they say, hey, have I got a story for you? And how much does that cost? You know, well, it's be a sliding scale. It's Prince Harry. It's through the roof. So I just always wondered about that. So a sniffer dog. They sent a drugs sniffer dog round John Reed's. But why? Was it a tip-off? Pete Doherty was seen in the area doing a house-to-house search. Hands up who thinks Pete Doherty's going to jail. That's no one. Right. Why? Because he's famous. You're shaking your head in disbelief, Lucy.
Well, it's shocking, isn't it?
Rock star takes drugs. Yeah, I've never heard the like.
Yeah, but, you know, there's nothing he can't do, is there?
Over and over and over again, yeah. Yeah, because he's famous. Is he rich? You wouldn't think so. Yeah, I'd challenge anyone to whistle one of his songs. No, he doesn't. No, I challenge anyone to whistle one of his songs. You can't do it. Go on. Can you even name one of his songs?
Yeah, actually, my husband's got one of the albums that... From not his group now, not the Baby Shambles, but the one before.
Right, I think we're going to get a sniffer dog round your place.
But actually, some of the music wasn't that bad, you know.
Right.
Because he's supposed to be quite a good lyricist.
You're not being effusive in your praise. Not that bad.
Well, I quite like some of the odd songs. There's a good song called Katie, actually.
Ah.
But it's not about Katie. Or Kate.
Kate who?
You know, his friend Kate Moss.
Oh, that.
Yeah.
Does she look weird, or am I hallucinating? To me, she's held up as this paragon of female beauty. To me, she looks like an alien. Her eyes are way too far apart.
Do you think?
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's that baby face, you know, because a baby's eyes are gigantic and far too far apart for like a normal head. And all their other features are squashed together. And so they've got this giant round head. Huge eyes on either side, like like a Mini's tyres, or on each corner. Their eyes are on the corners of their face.
Yeah.
And their other features are squashed together. That's what Kate Moss looks like. She looks like a baby. Because if you present people with pictures of faces that can be computer generated, they'll always pick the most beautiful one, has that profile. Eyes are way far apart, and all the other features are squashed. So that they look like a baby, because we're in our deep dark past, in our id. We don't want to talk about Freud now, do we? No. We're primed to find babies attractive, because you don't want to be killing the future of our human race.
So anyone with their eyes too close together,
yes,
we see
out.
hideous.
Yes,
right.
That's right.
Prescott?
Does Prescott have his eyes too close together? I think the size of his head, they'd be about a foot apart. We don't want to talk about John Prescott again, do we?
No, no.
Oh, go on then. This is page 2 of The Sun. Here's the way the wind is blowing. There's a picture of Lorraine Kelly. I was just mesmerised above. She looks like she's, 18 years old in that picture. She looks fantastic. And this picture, Jeremy Clarkson, right opposite her, looking like it could be her granddad. Clarkson must be younger, or at least the same age as Lorraine Kelly. You know who Jeremy Clarkson is exactly the same age as? Me. How can someone look so knackered? I mean, what's he done to himself? He should go to the dentist as well. Seriously, teeth don't come in that colour. Really, not on television they don't. Not even the Queen Mother had teeth that colour. It looks like he's using her old set. Awful. It looks like he's got pubic hair on the top of his head and wooden teeth. Jeremy Clark. He doesn't work here, does he?
He's a smoker.
I think he is, yeah. In fact, I read a column of his... he is funny, there's no question about that. I buy the Sunday Times for really three reasons. A.A. Gill is the first column I read in the style section. Do you read the Sunday Times?
Occasionally,
The style section, do you read that?
No.
Is there a sillier supplement on the face of this planet? It's rubbish from start to finish, except for A.A. Gill's restaurant review. What is his restaurant review doing in that silly magazine? It's laugh out loud funny, some of the stuff they come out with. In fact, I should have brought it in. It's just ridiculous. They've recently put a men's fashion advice column in there, and it's all stuff like, I've just bought a pair of brogues. What kind of belt should I wear with these? I think it's a paragraph about it. I mean, good God. Is wearing a white belt not the done thing in winter? Who cares? Are you serious? It's just right. It's like, which face cream is better? And then they mark them out of 10, and it's just ridiculous. And then there's the A.A. Gill column, and he's a great wordsmith. He's one of the best in the short form. In the long form, novels, it all kind of falls apart. But you give him give him 1,000 words and concentrated goodness. What? I'm not saying the wrong thing, am I? Huh?
No. Carry on.
In the short form, in a concentrated column, which is how he makes his money, brilliant. So's Jeremy Clarkson. Very, very funny. So it's for those two and the culture section, just because it tells you what's on telly. And television is my life. You know, when I'm not listening to LBC, I'm in front of the television all the time. All the time. What's wrong with that?
Aren't you cooking ever?
Cooking? Okay, when I say
watch TV all the
when
time.
I say all the time, I just mean you know. Can you eat on your own without watching TV? Because I just flat out cannot do that. I can't eat and read.
On. Can't you with the radio on?
But what do you look at?
Well, you don't need to look at anything, do you? Well, you look at your dinner, don't you? Otherwise you're spilling it everywhere.
Well, maybe you eat better than I do. Okay, this is the way the wind is blowing, ladies and gentlemen. This is page 2 of The Sun. Page 2 of The Sun is probably the least read page in all of the newspapers, because it's where they concentrate all the actual news, as opposed to pictures of Chantel and Jordan and all these people, and you think, why is this person famous again? And you're just famous, and you read about them all the time, but if you stop yourself and think, why is Jordan famous? What has she actually done to make her famous? She has giant boobs. Is there anything else? I mean, Sarah Beanie has giant boobs, but she has actually done something with her life, right? She is great. How can you not love Sarah Beanie? She has ruined the property market in this country single-handedly. It's her fault. Everybody's a property developer now, which is why any property that's got that magic phrase, needs modernisation, will be snapped up before it's even hit the market. People who have got nice homes, which are well presented, can't sell them for love nor money. But if it needs rewiring and replumbing and is crap inside, you've got a queue of people outside the door because they've seen Sarah Beanie on TV, and all those morons, I don't know where they get these idiots from, but there's no end of them who want to display their stupidity for the general public. They're all making giant sums of money at the end of the programme. And the millions of people who watch her show, many of which tuned in because she has giant boobs, think, well, if that idiot can do it, then I can too. It's a road to, good fortune. Well, it isn't. Because there's so many of them, each one that falls flat on their face and doesn't make any money at all and stops doing it is immediately replaced by someone else who's just come fresh to the programme and has watched last week's episode. Which always, and it's like mistake after mistake after mistake, and they still make money at the end, every time. She has ruined the property market in this country. Absolutely, no question about it. You can't make any money now, unless you're one of the giant corporations that are sucking up all the land. All of the land, all of the best land. Do you ever wonder why it's the same names outside all of those developments? Does that seem a little crooked to you? And whatever they want to build, it doesn't matter what it is, the planners say, right you are. I mean, I know I talked about this last time, but it was probably on a different day at a different time, right? Different audience, and they were probably all drunk anyway, they've forgotten it, like I have. It might have been on a different radio station. It might have been a different life. I don't know. I'll check my astrology chart. I'll talk about that in a minute as well. But did you ever wonder about that? How come these corporations can get away with the buildings that are going up now are flat-out rubbish. Look along the Thames. Every single inch of land. You know there's one house, one detached house on the Thames? One. Everything else is those block of flats. And they all, they'll have a balcony that's 10 foot wide, and you think, oh, that's quite a decent balcony, until you look more closely, and the balcony is divided down the middle because it's one flat on one side and one flat on the other. Tiny little flatlets with no cupboards and no room, and a 10 foot wide living room, but it's got a glass wall at the end of it, so it looks like, that must be what it's like to be a rabbit. in your tiny little hutch with a little window at the end that you can peer out. That'll be £500,000, please. It's awful. And you go out on your balcony, and there's the bloke that lives next door standing right next to you. How, in God's name, is that not overlooking? Which is illegal for planners. If you want to put a balcony on the top of your terraced house, they'll say, no, of course not. It's overlooking. You're overlooking the people next to you. You can't do that. If you're a gigantic corporation, you could overlook the Queen herself. They'd let you do that. Actually, I did overlook the Queen once. Well, the Queen's... Don't look at me like, don't step out of line there. I'm not insane. I used to work near... I think the Queen is great. There you are. Relax. What do you mean? Well, I'm not so sure about that. You can't not say it and then do it and expect me not to report your actions. What don't you like about the Queen? How dare you say that about the Queen?
I didn't say anything about the Queen. I merely looked.
Right. Now you can see there are offices around Buckingham Palace that if you go illegally onto the roof, you can actually peer into the palace gardens, which are boring, by the way. I mean, if I had that much money and that much land right in the middle of London, I'd get Dermot O'Flurmont, or whatever his name is, to come and, put something interesting in the back there. What's his name? Dermot O...
I can only think of Dermot O'Leary.
Dermot Gavin. Dermot Gavin. I can spell it, but I can't say it. It's one of those... he's Southern Irish, isn't he? So I play this bit that I've got.
Yes.
He's Southern... Now, a little while ago, I was talking about... I'd had a phone call from, one of these call centres. They call you up when you're eating dinner every single night. Well, apropos of that, I had a call from a Scottish one the other... My surname is Scottish, right? I had a call from a Scottish chap who was trying to sell me... 0% interest, and we'll only charge you £1,000 to transfer it, but we'll charge you 0 interest. And he called me Mr. Abbot. A-B-B-O-T. In what language is A-B-B-O-T a bot? A bot. I mean, if you're trying to get somebody's business, you would try to find any other way of pronouncing that name. A bot? It's Scottish, and he was Scottish. And I pointed that out to him, and he just, okay. Anyway, a little while ago, I was talking about, I got a call from one of these people, and it was from Northern Ireland. And I was saying, please, and I'll reiterate now for the benefit of the deaf, do not put your call centre in Northern Ireland at all, ever, never. The reason is because they are impossible to listen to. It's like someone pouring Drano in your ear. It's all... Southern Irish, yes. And that Dermot Gavin, he's Southern Irish, right? Because he's not unpleasant to listen to, right? No one... I will bow to no one in my love for the Northern Irish people. They're great. But they sound awful, let's face it. Worse than Birmingham. And somebody sent me this clip. Now, I don't know who it is or where it's from. So if this is your copyright material, I apologise. And I hope that I think it's great makes up for me using it. I've got no idea where this is from. But but it was basically exactly what I was talking about. These are Southern Irish trolls or gnomes or whatever it is that you like to call the fantasy figures that live at the end of your garden, talking about the Northern Irish accent.
I am. Alright, 50 house she couldn't. What did you do for the weekend? I didn't even see you. Because I wasn't here. Where were you? I went up north. What are you doing up there? I'm just kind of hanging around, just having a look at it. Went to about 543,724 shopping centres. It's brilliant. And I don't like the way they talk. Because I do. I think it's brilliant because you go up and you go, alright, how's it going? Like, pah. And he just comes down and he's like, alright, how you doing? Hey, what's going on, shit? What are you doing? What a beach you could do? What's going on? What are you going? What are you doing over there? But I can't make anything out of it. Everything just sounds like, Hi, you go, hi, how much are the sweeties? About it there, but I think the main reason you don't like up there is because they have a lot of problems pronouncing your name. Because most of them turn around and just go, alright, Foster. How you doing, Foster? And you have to be freaking out because your name you think is 50, but they can be saying Foster. Is that it? I'm dead, little. Situation. People down here don't say the word situation as much as they say it up there. We just can't find the reason to fit it into a sentence. But if you ask anybody up there, if you ask an old woman who's getting on a bus, excuse me, do you have change of €1? Little situation. And she's deaf. She couldn't even hear you in the first place. And you know who I hate the most too? That Reverend Ian Paisley. Oh yeah, he's a big fella here. We said no to trolls entering Dornan. We said no to any kind of small creature that would ever shake the red fist hand of Ulster says no to letting any strange creatures into Northern. They don't say no, because if you see a man on ITV Julian, he's a right pussy pack bottle anyway, if ever I've seen one. Bye.
London's LBC 97.3.
0870 90 90 973.
Nick Abbott.
Is it okay to talk about the voice of that last advert? I mean, I don't talk about the advert itself, the message, because I recognise that voice.
Yeah, I thought you might.
And why? Who is he?
He?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant the female voice.
What female voice?
On the end of that trail. Was that the one you're talking about?
No.
Oh.
There was a female voice on the end of that. Oh, let's hear that again. Can we? Do we have the technology? No?
London's LBC 97.3.
0870 90 90 973.
Nick Abbott.
Oh yeah, that was Bendy Wendy. Yeah. Yeah, I know Bendy. She is great, actually. She makes me laugh. No, but the chap who did the advert was not an advert. It was like a message. Just before he was a voiceover artist from back in the old days, like Raymond Baxter time. You remember Raymond Baxter? Always talking about Spitfires. No. No. Looking at me utterly blankly.
I don't remember at all.
I'll move on. Here's a bloke called Phil. Phil.
Hello, Nick. How's it going?
All right, thanks.
I was racking my brains trying to actually think of something to call about, and then you finally gave me two topics at once. So I want to talk about kids not respecting their teachers nowadays.
All right.
I don't want to use something that's used so much, but you've got to blame the parents partially, because if a kid isn't going to respect their own parents, then you can't expect them to go to school and respect the teacher.
Correct. The problem is that parents have become, this is an entire generation of liberal, they're either really liberal, wet, guardian reading types, or they're just flat out stupid. And the result is the same. Kids have grown up in an atmosphere of no consequences.
I'd say it's laziness. I mean, where I live, I'm not trying to cause a bad impression of council estates, but I'm currently on a council estate. And you see kids of like 3 years old and 4 years old playing out in the middle of the road with giant sticks, whacking each other with them. And then you hear the parent calling them in for dinner, or it's bedtime or something. And I've so many times heard kids swear at their parents for actually calling them in.
Yeah, see that's what I mean about no consequences. They can do what they want, and so if you can swear at your parents, that no longer is taboo, and so you don't. And so you're starting your pushing the boundaries from that level, which means that where are you going to go? You're going to be shooting them soon. Whereas before, swearing at your parents was about as the worst thing you could possibly imagine, and you wouldn't get away with it. But if you do get away with it, then it becomes as nothing, and so you move on to the next thing to push the boundaries with.
They can get away with anything, because it's not just the teachers now that can't actually retaliate in any way, shape or form. It's also the parents that can't do anything, because of, you know... is it actually completely illegal now to smack your kid in?
No, isn't it? I think it's something you can't leave a bruise or something like that. Isn't that right, Lucy?
How do you wear that out? Do you experiment them loads of times first?
I've got no idea. But you can... I mean, I was never hit as a child, but I've got manners.
Oh, that's a good point, yeah. I mean, I was smacked if I did something way out of line, but...
But at school, I mean, because at home you should respect your parents, because your parents should engender that respect in you. But at school, you're in like a larger... What are you eating?
Me?
No, not you.
Clementine.
A clementine.
Or clementine, yeah. Or whichever you choose to say.
Is it juicy?
Oh, it's lovely.
Carry on. Yes, but at school, of course, you're surrounded by your peers, and you want to show off. Particularly in this program, which is just is laugh out loud funny, and I also end up shouting at the screen all the time. That'll teach them, which they take a class from the kids back to the 50s. Have you seen this?
Actually, I've seen it advertised, but I've never got around to watching it.
Well, it's well worth it. But what was fascinating was that in a mixed class, they're all showing off. Like the girls are showing off to the boys and vice versa. But in single-sex classes, they're all pretty much paying attention, with one or two exceptions. And when they remove the one or two exceptions, then they're all busy learning their multiplication table. So it's just some incredibly boring stuff, but useful stuff like that they flat out don't do anymore, because they're all learning about media and leisure and whatever it is they teach them these days.
Speaking of someone that actually did a leisure and tourism course at college.
You did what?
Yeah, unfortunately, you don't want to know about it. It was a leisure and tourism course at college. I just left school at 16. This is going back like 10 years now. I just left school, and my mum came into me and she was like, well, what are you doing with your life? And she said, you either carry on with your education or you get a job. And not quite wanting to actually work yet, I thought, right, well, what's the easiest course at college? And I picked leisure and tourism, which is... Paul, I think most people that do that job end up in working like a travel agent or something. But it was the worst course I think I could possibly have picked. The teachers didn't even care about teaching. They'd show up like 2 hours late sometimes, and you'd have like 1 or 2 lessons a day, 3-hour gaps in between your lessons, and you're just left to hang around college and, well, do what students do. I think that's the best way of putting it. I think
the reason that colleges and universities put on these joke courses is that they're easy to get good marks in. Because because the way that the universities and colleges are rated now is on results, and so what they will do is that they will tailor their courses in order to get good results, so that they will be looked on favourably by the government and will get more money.
It didn't work in this course, because I think there was like 22 people on the course and 3 people actually passed.
Good grief!
And that was an intermediate course, believe it or not.
Well, they need to be a bit stricter on their admissions policy, I think. That's awful.
Yeah, tell me about it.
It's the same... Sorry, go on.
Oh, just a quick thing before, because I'm guessing you're near to the news time.
Yeah, he's professional.
Just a quick thing I just wanted to mention. You were talking about using the internet earlier. And I was just wondering, how often are you actually on the internet?
What?
How often do you actually log online?
Oh, you mean how often do I personally use the internet?
Yeah.
Every day.
So I was just wondering, the last time you were on this show, you were talking about the different sites like MySpace.com, with all the friends and everything.
Yeah, I've read about that. I've never actually used it. No.
I was going to say, because you've got you obviously know this, you've got quite a cult following, I suppose, on the internet.
Yeah, 6 people talk to each other all the time. Yeah, I'm a cult hit. Hey, you know what? You're not that professional, because you've run totally out of time.
Damn.
Available on DAB Digital Radio.
London's LBC 97.3. London's LBC 97.3.
Nick Abbott. 0870 90 90 973.
Okay, Maybe I'll do this tomorrow because, or shall I do it now? This is the page 2 of the Sun. This is the way the wind is blowing. I've been talking about this for about 2 hours or more, and I still haven't done. I keep getting sidetracked. What is it that I talk about on this program? Tell me now. What have I talked about so far? Nothing. Right, page 2 of the Sun today. There's several stories on this page. This is the page that nobody ever reads because it's opposite you know what. And nobody buys the Sun for the news, let's face it, do they? Nobody buys the Sun for its political coverage. Was it John Kavanagh? Peter Kavanagh? Anyway, the Sun's political columnist, who's supposed to be the most important and influential political columnist in this country. Who reads his stuff? He writes for the Sun. I mean, he might be a brilliant journalist. Who knows? He writes for the Sun. Nobody buys the Sun for its political coverage. It's kind of a... I mean, you might as well have an opera critic. It's pointless. Anyway, here are the stories on page 2 of the Sun. Sensation as 2 ministers face chop. Cost of Clark bungle is rape. Free fiends in attacks. Charles Clark was fighting for survival last night after the devastating cost of his failure to deport foreign criminals was revealed. So that's one story. The next one, 2 shags ready to go. Deputy Prime Minister John Prescott was last night on the brink of resignation in the wake of this tawdry affair. So that's bad news, right? Then the other story on the right-hand side of that is waiting for roof to fall in, with a picture of Tony Blair looking worried. Tony Blair will be shell-shocked this weekend as he waits for the inevitable fall of Deputy PM John Prescott. It's now only a matter of time before cabinet thugs... Now, the only time I've ever seen him be display thuggery is when he got an egg in the face from that bloke. And, I thought the bloke quite deserved it. It was a left-hander, wasn't it? And he wasn't knocked out. He charged forward and bent Prescott back over a wall, didn't he? They replayed that just recently. It was hilarious. Because he was a huge guy, wasn't he? It looked like he didn't need... he didn't need farming equipment. He could hoe a field himself. And he chucked an egg. He could have planted it on his face, he was so near. It must have really hurt. And John Prescott's initial response was to hit him in the face, which is brilliant. I mean, that's the sort of response you get from an Australian politician. It's excellent. I mean, over here, if somebody hit what's his name? Tony Blair. I forgot that for a moment. Funny how you forget so quickly. If somebody hit him in the face, you think he'd punch them? It's seriously unlikely. He'd invite them for, like a sit-down, and then have MI5 march them into a field. Anyway, so the 3 stories so far. Cost of Clark bungle is rape. There's Charles Clark fighting for survival. Second story, Deputy Prime Minister John Prescott on the brink of resignation. Third story, Tony Blair will be shell-shocked this weekend. Fourth story, Britain is to pile on diplomatic pressure over Iran's nuclear ambitions. Jack Straw is up to his neck in Iran. Like Iraq's not enough, now it's Iran. Or just countries that begin with Like if it starts then you know there's a problem. You know, like George Bush said. And that wasn't edited either. That was just him. What an idiot. So those are the 4 stories. It's just disaster, 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 disaster. And then there's a little story here about David Cameron, the leader of the Conservative Party. So we've got 2 ministers ready to quit, 1 minister who's up to his neck in a foreign policy disaster that could mean the death of us all, Tony Blair himself waiting for his whole world to fall in, and the story about the Tories? David Cameron has revealed more green credentials. He once won a prize for growing garlic. They must have been honking with laughter when they put this page together. That is hilarious. The Tory leader, who has taken delivery of an eco-friendly dual-fuel Lexus car, says he loves harvesting his own veg. Asked for his gardening tips, he declared, "Plant a row of garlic around your greens, as this helps keep the snails away." Yeah, and the vampires, too. That's what I heard. "I won a prize for my garlic after I did that." As well as singing the praises of homegrown grub, Mr. Cameron revealed he was a karaoke champion. He hit the top note with judges by crooning "I Got You, Babe." Mr. Cameron told GQ magazine, does that stand for Gentleman's Quarterly? Something like that, yeah. "I did once win a karaoke competition in Portland. It was that terrible Chrissy Hynde UB40 duet. I must have played that about 1,000,000 times in my previous incarnation. Couldn't stand it." He says his favourite TV shows are Desperate Housewives, Shameless and Big Cat Diaries, and he told he once drunkenly sprained his ankle while dancing to bagpipes in Rome. Mr. Cameron admitted he got slightly exuberant. Blimey, why don't they just cover him in treacle and present him for us to lick? Have they made their mind up at the Sun or what? Probably had a call from Australia. Oh, yeah, mate. Well, it's not Australia anymore, is it? No, he's American. Right. Okay, let's have one in Temple Fortune. Hello, Claire.
Hi, good evening.
Claire.
Yes. Two things. First thing, it is bad language. I blame the television a lot on the bad language. You hear bad language on television.
No, it's not the television's fault. It's not the television's fault.
So who is that?
Well, kids will swear when given the opportunity. It's just that they didn't used to be given the opportunity because the schools wouldn't put up with it, parents wouldn't put up with it, and people in the street would tell them off. Now, if you tell a child off for swearing, he will shoot you.
No, they put you in prison.
Well, quite possibly, yes, for abusing their human rights to express themselves.
And the government does not...
Cherie Blair will personally beat you down with a stick.
Get lost. She's rubbish. and the Deputy Prime Minister, what's his name, that fat fellow? What's his name?
Fat fellow, yeah.
What has he done? I haven't heard him doing anything good, has he?
What's he done that's good?
Yeah. Well, we don't talk about the ladies, so that's something else.
I don't know. We'll have to wait for the Daily Mail expose tomorrow. Maybe Tracy will tell us all sorts of good things that he did.
What a government, my God. 7
times a night. That's usually the form, isn't it? Tracy, I mean, Lucy, you're looking ill. Oh, come on. Just imagine it for a second. Wouldn't that be great?
You keep calling me Tracy when you talk about it.
I don't know why. Well, I've got this. I know 2 women who are called Tracy, and you kind of look like one of them. So every time I look up, that's the reason why.
You know, I'm a grandma. Hello, I'm a grandma.
Hello.
And it upsets me very much to see the youth, how they behave today in the street, and how the ladies get dressed with all their yesterday showing. It's horrible.
Well, you shouldn't have been on the... I'm glad that you weren't on the tube that I was on. It came through the Chelsea area today, and a lot of rowdy football fans got on with booze in their hands, and they were celebrating their good fortune by kicking the train. I don't know why they would kick the train. It would seem like it would hurt after a while, but they were kicking the doors and shouting football songs at the top of their voices. Now, when you see football songs on TV, it just sounds like a roar, which is one of the reasons that women don't like football. It's not that it's the football part that's the problem, it's the animalistic sound of it that they just can't stand.
No, you're a very clever fellow. I've never heard you before because I don't listen so late on the night, but you're a very clever young man.
Oh, thanks, Claire. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, the animalistic sound of football. There's something about it. It drives them from the room, right? Nail guns drive me from the room, but the roar of the crowd, they can't be around it.
I want to ask you one last question before I go to sleep.
All right, before you do that, let me just...
If you were a prime...
Before you do that, Claire, let me just finish this point, okay?
Go on.
So, they were on their train, and when you're watching it on the TV, you can't really differentiate words when they're all singing along. It just sounds like a tune. I can't wait till I hear that, who do you think you're kidding, Mr... Not Hitler. It's they won't be saying Hitler because they'll get
I'm a
arrested.
Holocaust survivor. Don't mention that word, please.
No, okay. Well, who do you think you're kidding, Mr.
Yes.
Voller, or whoever is in charge of the German team? Because the Sun have got this new song out. It's got to be better than the Embrace thing, which is awful. Have you heard that Embrace song? That's not a football song. That's just rubbish.
I haven't heard that song.
No, well, you wouldn't, Claire. It's not your cup of tea, I would imagine. But anyway, on television, you can't determine what they're saying. When they're standing 3 feet from you and yelling it at the top of their voices, you can tell quite clearly what they're saying, and none of it is polite.
Can I ask you one last question?
Yes, Claire.
With the sleep. If you were Prime Minister tomorrow, what would you do?
Well, okay, I'll tell you what I'd do. I would stop the country being run by amateurs. Now, what I mean by that is that politicians are not experts on transport or the health or foreign policy or any of these things. They're just Jobsworth politicians who went into politics from a very early age. Well, no, they didn't go into politics for the money, because you start to be interested at school and university. And these were usually people who had no friends and couldn't get sex. You don't mind if I say that, do you, Claire?
No, pleasure.
Okay. And so they went to debating societies. It was the nerd club, right?
Yeah.
And so they got drunk on the power of oratory, and they just sort of sidled into politics. Nobody goes into politics for the money, because it's unless you decide really late on in life. But most of these people, they've been doing this kind of thing throughout their schooling and their university. So it's like a club, a hobby. I mean, some people go to the film club, and some people go to the chess club, and the really nerdy ones go to the debating society. And so that's where they end up. And so basically they're total amateurs. They don't know anything. They've never been in business. They've never had to run a company. They've never really had to do anything at all other than score points off their opposite numbers. And then we suddenly put them in charge of the National Health Service and stand back and wonder why it's all screwed up.
My goodness.
So I would actually run it on a more American lines, where you put an actor. I know this sounds like a revolutionary concept, but put someone who actually knows what they're doing in charge of each of these departments. Get somebody from business who go to America, if necessary, and find somebody who runs a successful hospital in America, and then get them to try and work it here, because you get a far better, or Germany, or France, or Holland, or any of these places which run a better health service than we do. Ours limps on desperately from day to day. You know, you go to your GP and you've got some sort of problem, and no matter what it is, the first question he'll ask is, do you have private health insurance? Yeah. If the answer is no, he's like, God, oh well, you're screwed then.
Listen, can I just ask you one little question? I go.
And another one. Go on.
No, what? I came here after the war in 1946 because I'm a Holocaust survivor. People like me didn't get anything from the government, not a penny. We had to work for ourselves very hard. Everybody gets money today for nothing.
I don't get any money for nothing, so you and I, Claire, will someday we'll sit down for a cup of tea and we'll go over our woes together. All right.
Good night.
Thanks a lot, dear.
Bye.
Ta-ra. This is LBC 97.3.
London's LBC 97.3.
0870 90 90 973.
Nick Abbott.
So, hands up who believes in astrology. You're a Leo, so you don't. Researchers have concluded that there is no evidence, none, do we have an astrologer on the station?
We've got a psychic show.
Right, not the same. Researchers have concluded that there's no evidence, none at all, to support a link between personality, intelligence and birth dates. They studied more than 15,000 people, and the predictions relating to them, as well as the qualities their birth sign should give them, and found that I didn't read that well. I'll start that sentence again. They studied more than 15,000 people, and the predictions relating to them, as well as the qualities their birth sign should give them, and found that there was... Actually, it's the sentence that's wrong. Never mind. Found that basically there was probably more truth in a comic strip, said the researchers. If there's some truth to astrology, then some general effects of prominent astrological factors like sun signs should be. Say that 10 times quickly. I dare you. I double dare you. Go ahead, Lucy. Try it now. Sun signs should be.
Sunshine should be, 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 sunshine should be.
I think you screwed up the first one.
No!
I think you did, yeah.
Oh, that's fine.
Oh dear, what a shame. Wah, 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 wah. If there is some truth to astrology, then some general effects or prominent astrological factors like sun signs should be detectable using large enough samples. The present large-scale study found certainly no independent effects of sun signs, elements, or gender, and thus yields no support for the common claims of astrology. In other words, it's all rubbish. Russell Grant, oh, blimey. He used to work here. The television astrologer, is he still on? What does he do now? Russell Grant. Celebrity Fat Club, yeah. Except they call it Fit Club in order to spare their blushes. It's not fit. They're not fit. They're fat. It's true. Russell Grant, the television astrologer, dismissed the survey, saying it needed to extinguish between pop astrology of using the sun signs and proper astrology. We all know that sun signs are used in newspapers and magazines as a form of entertainment because we cannot sum up all people in 12 signs, he said. But proper astrology is based on where all the planets are at the exact time of someone's birth, and that has been used for thousands of years. Oh, well, that makes a difference then. It's just charlatanism, isn't it? How on earth? I mean, just seriously, how can you possibly tell from where a planet is what a person is going to be doing on any given day? That's just stupid. It's a stupid thing to say. There was a French study a long time ago when I was at university. This is an actual fact because I was doing psychology, and this is one of the things that we studied, that went for the French census. So basically they did the signs of everybody in France, which is, 60 million people? And they plotted the graphs of sun signs versus jobs taken. And some signs peak with statistical significance. You can tell I did stats. At certain occupations. Nurses are almost all grouped in the same one. Off the top of my head, I can't remember what that was. But this is like the Himalayas, if you look at the graph of where the nurses peak. Almost all are one particular sun sign. Isn't that weird? They did DJs. Can you believe that? Radio presenters. Guess where they are all bunched? Where I am. Leo. Huh. So, like Russell Grant said, he's absolutely right. Can I have some more cake, please? I think was one of the things he said. Oh, I'm out of breath. That was another. What time is it? And what do we have to do? Hey, Peter Deely's coming in soon. He is properly excellent, is Peter Deely. You don't know how lucky you are. Overnights, Peter Deely. It's incredible. Don't you think? Let's go with Regent Street. How can there be a call in Regent Street? Joseph.
Yeah, how you doing?
All right.
I don't know. I just want to talk about Tony Blair.
Okay.
Everyone has been criticizing him of recent. First of all, the war in Iraq, and now criticizing him about Iran. What's going on? What's going on? Does he want to go to war with Iran?
I'm sorry, most of us missed that. What's something about Iran?
Yeah, does he want to go to war with Iran?
Does he want to go to Iran?
Does he want to go to war with Iran? Tony Blair.
I'm still floundering in the dark. Do you have any idea, Lucy?
Go to war.
Does he want to go to war with Iran?
Yeah.
Is that the question?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's... does he want to go to war with Iran? Almost certainly not. Are we going to have to? I think they're just saber-rattling. I think this is part of this finger in the air thing. They've all got their finger in the air over there, like you see on the TV with a death to America. And the fingers are always in the air. I think they've got their finger in the air, saying, it's like a child. It's like a playground thing. If you tell me to do something, then I'm just going to do it anyway. And we're like, can we have our ball back? No, give me your ball back. It's kind of like that, isn't it? It's just pathetic. They're playing to the home crowd. He's whipping up his public support at home, and are all running out and waving their fingers in the air and burning American flags. Where they get them, nobody knows. Maybe they get them on the internet. Do they have the internet in Iran? But yes, I doubt that we'll have to. But, you know, Nostradamus said that it was all going to kick off in that little area, didn't he? And there was going to be someone, and it wasn't going to be Osama bin Laden, it was going to be someone else. Is his surname Mad in the Head? I think that's how it's spelled. The president of Iran. Look it up on the internet. I think his surname is Mad in the Head. Which should give everybody cause for concern. And Lucy is Googling it as I speak. Go on, quickly. Colon, no. Did they teach you typing? Iranian president. Search. President Khatami. No, not that one. Somebody else. Yeah, that bloke there. The guy with the finger up. Mad in the Head. Is that what it's called? You're not finding this fast enough. What's he called? I'm a dinner jacket, something like that. I'm Mad in the Head. There it is. A-H-M-A-D. Mad. That's the second syllable. Mad. A-H-M-A-D-I-N-E-J-A-D. I'm Mad in the Head. My case is... I rest my case on your face. Right, let's go with... did we deal with that bloke? Let's just say yes and move on.
Yes.
Here's one in Kidderminster. Kathleen.
Hi, Nick.
Kathleen.
Yeah, I'm still listening.
Oh, you're... I'd forgotten you were just on there listening.
Because I'm listening via the phone rather than the internet.
Is this costing you money?
Well, it doesn't really matter. It's, you know, ideally it would be good to have the internet on, but it doesn't really matter. It's just
so let's just go through this. You bought a computer.
I've got a computer, yeah.
Is it new?
Well, not that new, but it's a very good computer.
How much did you spend?
Well, I think it was about £1,000.
£1,000?
Yeah.
And what have you managed to do with it so far?
Well, it does lots and lots of things, but
Right.
one of the things it doesn't do is it doesn't link up to the radio internet.
Can you play any kind of sound on it?
Yeah, I can play music, all sorts, a real player, all of that stuff, but just not the show. Unfortunately.
But you can access the internet.
Oh, yeah, that's easy.
Right. Well, and you can play sounds, because some of these things are so... this has happened to me recently. I downloaded like a sound editing suite.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
And it just flat out didn't work. And there was no earthly reason why it didn't.
Yeah.
And you want to just pull your hair out. Why doesn't this work? And then what I had to do, and this is a nerdy thing now, bear with me for just 1 minute, there is a point to this. And so I had to go into Start, Control Panel, Audio devices,
technical.
and into Audio, and then...
Is that a bit out of...
Wait a minute, and then play, record through the following devices, and then choose the rear panel access point, and then who the hell knew that? I mean, that's ridiculous that they sell you these things and then not give you any help to set it up at all. I mean, I could, if I didn't actually know that, if I was just, somebody coming to computers and knew, you could have looked at it for 1,000,000 years and not figured that out. That's insane.
Well, yeah, it is true that you have to speak the right language, but did you manage to succeed?
Well, yeah, I did, because I just belted, almost metaphorically belted you in the ear. Yeah, I did, because I more or less know what I'm doing from years of frustration and, having people on the phone at 50p a minute tell me where I'm going wrong.
Exactly.
But most people, I mean, they would
struggle.
Never know, not struggle, you would just flat out not know, because it's not logical at all.
But the computers are about logic, aren't they?
Well, they should be, but the problem with computers is human beings. And the problem
it's the human beings that
it's
have
the
to
people that make the programs. And you know what the problem with the people that make the programs is? They're engineers. They're not people. They speak a different language.
Are you saying they're robots?
No, they don't think in the way that ordinary people like you and I think.
Why
they think they start from a basis of massive amounts of knowledge, which is not available to your average human being because we don't do it for a living. And so they don't talk us through it like we're idiots, which we basically are. They talk us through it like we're experts. That really, I'm getting all heated up, but that just drives me absolutely mad.
Yeah, but it's just about adjusting to the language, isn't it? But unfortunately, in my situation, it's not possible for me to adjust to the language because I've got an Apple Mac and it's not downloading the...
Oh, apples. Don't start talking to me about apples. They've got a mouse that doesn't have any buttons. How can you work at a computer with a mouse that doesn't have any buttons? It's impossible.
I've got buttons.
Can't be done.
Yep.
What do you mean, yep?
I've got buttons, but it's not working.
Well, I'm listening to you. You don't even know how to get sounds on your computer.
Well, I've got a telephone, so I can listen to...
Yeah, you do. Okay. Well, keep listening, Kathleen. Thanks a lot, dear.
See you later.
Ta-ra. It's Peter Dealey.
Oh, my goodness me, I'm not ready. Is that on?
You're loud and clear.
Oh, dear. Got a bit of a throat this morning.
Have you? Well, you've only got 5 hours. So.
Remember you had this the other week?
I hope you haven't got what I've got, because you'll. I'll be standing by. If you have to give up, then just give us a call, and I'll rush back in. All right.
I have my nurse here.
You do?
She's outside, Annie. My nurse. You don't. Can you see her?
Oh yeah, there she is. Yeah. Came in the uniform and everything.
Wherever I go, if I'm feeling a bit groggy, Annie comes with me. Oh God, it is going, isn't it? What do you think? What a lovely show you've had.
Really?
I've been listening outside.
Huh.
What else have I been doing all morning?
Yeah, you were here very early.
I was, because I was in town today, walking around, as you were, bumping into Chelsea fans all over the place.
Yes.
Well, they were actually bumping into me more like.
How did they take to you?
Rather strange. They were drunk. I find that Chelsea fans are always drunk. I've never yet met a Chelsea fan standing cold sober. I don't believe they exist in a sober
Well,
sense.
they've got so much to celebrate.
I know.
Always.
They're number 1 in the Premiership.
They're number 1, yeah.
But, I mean, all over Earl's Court where I happen to be drinking socially.
Like you do.
As you do.
Yes.
I went back to 2 of my old gay haunts in Earl's Court and found they were so boring.
Are they still there?
They're still there.
Because Earl's
Absolutely
Court has been... I drove through Earl's Court the other day. It's been gentrified up to its eyebrows. Yeah. It's not sad at all. It looks much better.
No. It was much better when it was livelier.
Right.
Now it's all, as you say, properly sort of sorted out. It was boring.
£1,000 a square foot.
Absolutely, yes. Pot plants everywhere. I thought, no.
Pot plants?
Yeah.
Oh, and now we're back to John Reed again.
Yes. What is going on?
I listened to you last week. You were on fire.
Was that?
Absolutely, yes. You're great. Do you mind if I say that?
No, thank you.
I'm back tomorrow, by the way.
Available on DAB Digital Radio.
London's LBC 97.3.